Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Fight Night Rising. Happy to be back after our little holiday break with some more TFT action. My name is Crowan, and joining me is Booposaurus. Boop, how you doing?
Still recovering from turkey, I think. Man, I love eating, and I love eating me some turkey. I'd been eating leftovers all week and running out of food now, and I'm ready for TFT. So I'm excited.
Yeah, same. I mean, this patch has been a thing for what, like 3 weeks now. The next patch can last for 4 weeks, so we're in a bit of a unorthodox kind
Meow.
of
Yep.
TFT cycle. Yeah, meow indeed. What was rated say meow ooh ooh me cat. It's a cat whisper, and maybe some players will be forcing cat today. Speaking of the players, let's go ahead and introduce them right off the bat, so we can know who's going to be in our lobbies. It is going to be a rat TFT, and then Roby Van Knob. I hopefully did not butcher that this time, but it probably did. Darth Nub, I like cats 3. Maybe they have 3 cats, just like you have 3 dogs, boo. We'll see. And then we have Senile, Noel, Schneckik, Smurf Squatch, and ooh, Tam Daniels. We have an Uwu player. Maybe they're gonna be the cat forcer. We'll see.
Also, great name, Smurf Squatch. Love it. Also love Schneckek. It's one of my favorite things to say in TFT. But yeah, this is a pretty good lobby. We had some really nice play from our returning players. Speaking of Roby Van Knob and a rat who played pretty consistently last week, I'm super excited to see how Schneckek is going to be able to come in here and play potentially what a lot of people say one-trick meta that Europe kind of went away from in their last competition with a lot of Pogma and a lot of Heimerdinger. So we
Yeah.
might get to see some of that variability, but we're probably going to see some people playing cat. And I think like the big debate right now, Crowan, is do you steal cats from people? We'll see.
I mean, yeah, players go into games saying like, "Hey, daily reminder: everyone holds 2 Katarinas, then nobody can get Katarina 3," and that's true. I mean, that's a fact, and maybe that'll be shaking up some of the standings if we do a bunch of cat foresters. But of course, everyone is going to be competing for some money. We do have that $200 on the line. $100 goes to first, second place earns 50, third and fourth place earn $25 apiece, and the top 3 are invited back for next week of competition. But back to the meta discussion, Boop. Obviously, Katarina is a big thing, and I think that's even perpetuated a lot more because other 2-cost real compositions are actually good as well, like Trundle, like Warwick, Kog'Maw even as well you can throw in there. So if all these 2 costs are coming out of the pool, it makes it more likely that you're going to hit your own 2 cost of choice. So reroll metas when everyone's doing it. It makes it better for everybody. Next patch will, maybe, hopefully, maybe not hopefully, depending on who you are, changes that one. But there are still other compositions that can work in this meta. It's not like you need to play reroll or you lose. There's a lot of success that you can find with things like Innovator, some Jhin, Arcanists are actually super popular as well. So I think there's still a lot on the table, even if we might have some, rerollers every game.
Yeah, I think cat has actually became a little less popular over the last couple days. We definitely moved away from it because, like you said, innovators and specifically Heimerdinger absolutely crushed it over the EU competition. This was that this week? Man, these weeks are long.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, it was this week. I think it was on Tuesday. But yeah, a lot of Heimerdinger there. That was kind of what all the casters were talking about when I popped in, was the amount of innovators and just Heimerdinger in a bunch of different kinds of compositions. Of course, he is a trip origin and class, so especially with Scholar, that's going to be really, really nice. But yeah, here's our first carousel, and we're going to start with Uwu. Damn, Daniel!
Back at it again with the Ezreal with the Rod this time around. And Rod is one of those items that does lean itself very well into the Katarina composition. I mean, I don't want to say Uwu, the name is telling of a Katarina, but this is what Raditz, the Cat Master, has been saying. Although he did tweet, though. Raditz was like, hey, it breaks my heart to say, but I'm going to be stopping playing Katarina. I don't know if that's true or not. I haven't seen a stream since then, so...
Yeah,
we'll
I
see.
mean, and we'll see if I like cats goes with the cats as well. And there is the possibility of going the dog comp as well with Kog'Maw, or as it's colloquially called sometimes, one of my favorite comp names in a while, Pogma. Love it. But we might be seeing that. And like you said, a lot of 2 costs are popular right now. So instead of people battling, it's kind of everyone's choosing their like starter a la Pokemon, right?
Yeah.
It's not like, hey, everyone has to compete for Squirtle. It's, hey, there's a Squirtle, Charmander, and Bulbasaur available, and here you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's what it kind of feels like right now as we get
Basically.
our first
Oh,
augments. And Metabolic Accelerator first is always a good idea in my opinion, but we're at 100
yeah.
HP, so
I
we'll
mean,
see.
it's fantastic, especially if you're planning on loss streaking, because it's like you gain 12 HP per stage. You're not going to get value at the first round, so just 10 HP gain, and then 12 the subsequent stages. And Daniel here has actually gotten already, I believe, he got 5 gold and then some more gold, so he'll be able to make 10 econ if he so chooses to. And some players will lean into a kind of open fort style with Katarina to make sure the econ's online, have a huge roll down at 230 to stabilize, or 3-2, excuse me, to stabilize, and then kind of go from there. But it's not looking like Daniel wants to open fort style. Scatting around, we see other players also having Metabolic Accelerator. Rich get richer as well. There is some strong mid-tier gold augments, and a lot of players seem to be having them.
Yeah, Rich Gets Richer is kind of a snap pick for a lot of people. You see the logo and you kind of just go for it. As we might be able to get to tier 2. I like Cats is going to be who we are right along with right now, and we have the Camille in the front line. This is definitely going towards innovators. Thus far, the Camille was, I think, just a lucky tier 2 to start.
Yep.
But yeah, we also have a really good item selection for innovators. A lot of people like Hextech Gunblade on that Heimerdinger, which is going to be pushing a lot of damage in a lot of these innovator comps.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's kind of why we see no item slams as of yet, at least on backline units, wanting to leave those Gunblade items open for the Heimerdinger. It is deciding to level up, and there is a Nico's help on the bench, which makes me think that, I Like Cats probably got a 3 gold Nico opener, which is a bit unfortunate if you're trying to make these early econ thresholds, especially if you're not going to full win streak. Like, you level to 4, and what the level to 4 here did is it's going to kill 2 units, it looks like. Yeah, so it kills 2 units. It's some HP save, but still not a fantastic spot for Alley Cats to be in.
No, not fantastic.
There's the Heimer.
But there is that Heimerdinger, and good thing we didn't slam those items, because slamming a Hextech Gunblade and then not being able to use it feels awful, because there's like 3 people in the entire set that can really use that very well. But the other thing that we can do is start printing some Yordles as well if we want to, and that's exactly what's going to happen. And this is something we saw in the European kind of Peltover Cup, which was the frontline Arcanist, which is the Vex, and then the Heimerdinger pushing a lot of that damage while printing money the whole time as well.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Printing money from Yordles is absolutely insane. And the units are strong too, right? It's not even, I mean, generally, if you're just playing 3 Yordle early, you're on a bit of a loss streak for now, until you get some of these Vex items online, right? Get her Bramble or Redemption, whatever you have it, and then some Heimer items. But Cats is not deciding to slam any Heimer items at the moment. And I think that's okay, because if you continue the loss streak, right, you're fine with that. But if you happen to win, then it's like, okay, then I want to protect my streak, then I will slam items after I win. So I like that decision. Now that Cats wins, I think there's definitely an argument to slamming items in the next round.
Because on the most basic level, you're already winning. So if you add an item like a Hextech Gunblade, for example, you're just going to increase your chances of continuing to win, as this was kind of looking like a potential Heimerdinger push as well. But we're going to go ahead and put our Singed in the front line. The package of this is actually pretty similar to what we've seen with the random Twisted Fate there as well. It looks like we got Celestial Blessing for our augment.
That is true. Celestial Blessing and only 3 item components. The third was on the Trundle that just got sold. Camille 2s are just finding their way into random compositions. She's still a strong unit, but no synergies on the board. Also, something to note is that on the side, I saw that Daniel did get Katarina 2 already, so that will most likely be a commit to the Katarina comp, I would imagine. You can still use it just to streak out, but we'll have to check in on that a bit later. Now seeing if Smurf Squatch can maybe turn this loss streak around. The Vex could not get another ultimate off. Gonna be a good loss, though.
Yeah, this is a really good loss. Twisted Fate, good unit. But the Smurf Squatch is totally fine with this, especially since we didn't level. That's usually code for I plan to lose. And we're going to passively get to level 5 and push a possible 3 loss streak while at 90 HP, which is pretty good. You compare that to Darth Nub, who has probably lost 1 more round, but 8 more HP, for example. So the losses that they have are a lot worse than what Smurf Squatch has right now. And that's going to be pretty big once we get to the hyper late game. These single-digit HP losses at round like 2-2 only really comes back and bites you at around like 6-1. when
Yeah.
you're 2 points behind fourth place. And so this is where you want to hoard a lot of that HP, because later on it's going to really come into play. As simple as that sounds, sometimes I think it's good to kind of reflect on the early game like that.
Oh, definitely, 100% agree with you. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, so Roby Van Knob here looks like they just grabbed a Quinn just for mercenaries. Scanning the rest of the lobby, seeing maybe is it worth it to run mercenaries right now. We'll definitely run it. It's just a matter of if they level up or not. Maybe just going to sell to 20 gold, and yeah. So the start of this loss streak is fantastic, I think. They haven't carried it all the way through, right? They're going off of win in the last round, but they have the metabolic accelerator, so they'll be able to cash out with less pressure on them to kind of roll down and force a win at 3-5 or 4-2, or you just die at that point. We'll definitely have a bit more wiggle room here, which is great.
Wiggle room always feels good in TFT, because sometimes you feel like the walls are just closing in the whole time, or you're getting vacuum sealed as you lose your HP. But we're going to see Red take the dub there, and we see another Heimerdinger, and I expect to see a lot of this, and it's going to be the Scholar version for Heimerdinger with the Zyra. So we're going to get a little bit more mana, and what unit uses mana the best? That's got to be that Heimerdinger, and so we're going to keep pushing that power into it as we start our loss streak here on this Merc board with a pretty weak board, which is exactly what you want right now in terms of loss streaking. You want some good losses, but if you are really, really trying to loss streak, you don't want to put anything up for question, then you just put your weakest board out, and you do what you need to do.
Yeah, this Caitlyn is, I think, good. It does give sniper buff, which makes Misfortune maybe going to kill some units, but it does almost guaranteed kill one unit like it did in the last round. But I think Roby Van is actually considering selling to 30 here, and I think they can with taking this Caitlyn out, if my math serves me correctly. That's 4, 7, 9. If they win, they can, or if they get any gold, but yeah, they can't. So just kidding. Math is hard.
It definitely is, especially the older you get, Crowan. Coming from the future, like I'm at right now, things just get harder as time goes on, as your brain loses those wrinkles and becomes as smooth as as a bowling ball as time goes on. When the weather affects your body, that's how you know things are starting to break apart, and you're going to have to walk a little longer to keep yourself healthy.
It's crazy. I actually noticed, every year I'm out of school, I'm just I just forget so much. The information just leaves my brain slowly over time. I'm just I don't know what's going on anymore. But
well, someone put that PEMDAS equation up that went viral, and I was like, I don't think I can do this problem. And then someone reminded me of it. I was like, okay, it's in there, right? But what's the quadratic equation go?
It's been too long.
I know, exactly.
It's been
anyway,
too long. I don't know.
You don't need.
All we know is TFT formulas. That's all we know.
Which is cat, meow, uwu, Daniel. Yeah. So, who is in first place right now, who is playing the Pussycat Dolls there at the top of the leaderboard. And it's thematic, too, so we're going to get a thematic buff as well with the screen name or the IGN, but we also have a lot of Heimerdinger showing up on the bench. So this is a unit that can get accidentally contested based on how many Yordle players there are. And there are going to be a lot of people who are contesting this unit anyway. So Heimerdinger 3 might be pretty tough based on what we're seeing right now across the whole lobby. So I think 2 or 3 people are at least taking them, one without the Yordles to go with it. But we're going to sell them and give up the Heimerdinger Dream right now for Schneckek, and we're going to keep the Morello's on the TF, which is one of the best holders of that item in the game. You can get a lot of value out of that, more than I think you should, into even some of the 4-1, 4-2 stages.
Yeah, definitely. Who's the other great holder of Morello's is going to be Lissandra. So maybe once they're, you pivot out of this TF, put it on a Lissandra, go some other AD units, maybe an Urgot as well. Lissandra can fit in because she is Chemtech. Schneckek on a 3 streak is looking to preserve it, and I think we'll be looking to do so here, yeah. The Samira 1 not quite good enough is going to be A-Rat maybe trying to play a Samira composition. These Imperials, I think they're one of the, I would say, fringe compositions that exist right now in Teamfight Tactics. You can have success with things like Samira or Misfortune, getting them to 3-star, but it's very specific cases that they have to come through with.
The augment where you get an extra Imperial bonus can
Yeah.
be really nice for that as well. I've seen some very tanky Samiras in my games. As this is going to be an Enforcer emblem on the Tier 1 Darius in the front line. Some good Tristana items. And Tristana 3 can hit like a truck if we get it pretty early. These are good items for it too. A lot of Giant Slayers so far, a lot meaning 2. And we got the Rage Blade on the Tristana as well, who's going to be able to get some self-heal because of the extra damage there. And this Tristana is actually pretty good against Cat and Assassins just in general, as if the Cat is going to be close by to the Tristana during the ult, she's going to get pushed back, but the Shunpo happens just in the nick of time, but we're going to miss that ultimate in the one kind of moment that you can. But let's see if the Tristana is going to be able to bring this back, and it will. That self-peel is just so good, and especially against units that need to be close, like that Katarina. Walking 1 Hex is enough time to get 2 or 3 auto attacks off and take them down eventually.
Yeah, and the last round, Darthnub was in 8th place in the lobby in terms of HP, which is really interesting because I thought their board was really strong, and they do run into Daniel, who was 100 HP, obviously not anymore. Also, Daniel did take Metabolic and actually win streak the first 5 rounds. That's a bit of anti-value, but they'll start to get value now. Darthnub's comp though, wow, Lulu too even now as well. Takes the item grab bag, so has an Archangels, but okay, they put the Archangels on the Vex, which makes me think this is not going to be a traditional Arcanist board. That with the Rage Blade Giant Slayer, it might want to pivot over into something more attack damage related. Using the Vex to kind of win streak out from here is still very strong. This Vex, as we saw in that last fight, does a lot of work.
Especially with this Archangels now, because the most impactful Vex ultimates usually aren't the first 2, right? It's that one where she's got, 100 health remaining and you're staring at that mana bar and you're just hoping that you're going to get to that ultimate. And this is going to make sure that when you do get to that 3rd or even 4th ultimate, that shield is going to be bonkers. So Vex is going to be able to take a lot of this front line, especially with the Enforcer. Schneckik now with this Twisted Face, Fate, Twisted Face, like mine, Twisted Face, is going to be ripping through a lot of this front line because of that Giant Slayer. Kate ult going to take down some of the CC. This is actually pretty close, but it's going to be the Rage Blade Giant Slayer going to be taken. Schneckek, oh, maybe not. She missed. But yeah, this should be good to go eventually. Wow. And that could have been a 2-unit loss, but we're going to save a couple HP instead.
That was a closer fight than I expected it to be. I thought the Vex 2 Trist 2 duo there would have done a lot more work. Still fine though, as we have our stage 3 carousel, some 4-cost units, just some items. And it's always fun to see these players running around super fast, their metabolic accelerators. Let's see what Senile Knoll is going to pick. Already has 2 Socialite. I think that's 1 Socialite coming from the... Yes, it is going to be a Socialite Heart. Is running a Taric as well, and low-key, people were sleeping on Taric for a very long time. Taric is such a good unit that's been discovered nowadays when people are, running Arcanist Taric. He full heals and overshields units. He's just so good. Also, some Katarinas here on this board, and 70 gold. That is rich get richer value, but it makes me think Senile might still be looking to go Katarina from this point. It is possible. We have most of the pieces, just kind of missing that 4th assassin. Either a Shaco or a Twitch.
I like the Shaco here. Gives some good rubber banding opportunities when he goes the stealth during that ult and someone has to walk away. The Blitzcrank is eliminating someone usually right away, but the damage has to be done by the Katarina, and the Katarina is going to get their GA procced immediately, and the TF decides to not ult the Katarina right next to him and go the other direction, and that's going to be potentially a round loss, but no, it's going to be the Tier 1 Vex making this pretty interesting right now. We're going to leave this to overtime, most likely.
Yeah, the Vex should be able to take it. Unless Taric gets a massive heal right now, no, not going to be the case. Vex is very good, especially into Katarina compositions. The biggest counter when it comes to the Cat composition into a Vex Arcanist is when you're actually just running like RFC Talon, and the components are there for it. It's just that unfortunately one of the bows is kind of stuck on the Katarina. Sure, that can turn into a Giant Slayer, but most players would really consider best in slot Katarina as i.e. Ionic Spark, and then a healing item. Most of the time it's going to be Gunblade. I think actually Reddit's pretty outspoken about Gunblade being way better than Hand of Justice, just for the guaranteed healing. Does give some more AP as well, stuff that Cat really likes.
Yeah, Hand of Justice sometimes just feels bad.
Yeah.
in my opinion, especially with things like Celestial Blessing available. Hand of Justice seems to be just a tad less effective than I think it wants to be. Because I agree, the Hextech Gunblade is that guaranteed heal, and for some reason, units like Tom Kench and Heimerdinger get multiple procs on some of their casts. So this Katarina also struggling a little bit. The damage really isn't there. This is more on the defensive side right now with the GA, and that's to get 1 or 2 extra units, but that is not happening right now. We also do have a built different board here, which is always exciting to see in the late game, to see if they're actually running it or not.
Yeah, definitely. And Sinnoh is pushing levels here, so I know they're not sticking with the Katarina forever, just running it because, you know, it is a decent unit in the mid game. We've saved a decent amount of HP, lost the last 3 rounds, but the rich get richer value. I mean, some players are pretty confident that, hey, you shouldn't really greed out for that +7 econ, just really play the game normally with +10 gold, but, you know, Sinnoh says, nah, I'm gonna get my money's worth and get some really good AD items if that is going to be the pivot. We have a lot of gold to be able to find some stuff here, but I wonder if Sinnoh is going to greed level 8 or roll down here on 7. Probably greed 8 in my opinion.
Yeah, I think we should greed 8 as well. We might as well. We're already at that econ state at 70 gold, and we're not in a place where we're needing to press the panic button just yet. We can greed 1 or 2 rounds right now, but once we kind of get below 30 HP, that's when the panic button does come through. But we have 2 Nico's helps hovering over the Yone, and we're not going to use it. 50 HP is not, you know, again, where you want to press the panic button. If we were at 30 HP, then maybe you double Nico's that Yone. But as of right now, that is not the case, as we have some interesting items on the Katarina. The auto attacks are going to be really nice, but the GA is going to be, we've seen, nice to delay the fight, and at least this Katarina has a little bit of help elsewhere to make things happen. But this Yone, though, making things interesting, but it's going to be it here, because Leona cannot take these 3 units.
Yeah, if that was a Yone 2, definitely would have been a round win, but choosing to greed those Nikos out, maybe for some other upgrades later on, making sure we get maybe a Kaisa 2 or a Fiora 2 as well as the Yone 2. I like Cats. Also not committing to Katarina. The name is just a bait, don't be fooled. But we do know the direction. More challengers here. 6 challenger Yone is probably the most standard Yone comp, I would say, at this point. It is very strong. But can I Like Cats get to that level 8 perfect 6 challenger composition? There's still a bit of a ways to go there. And we're still missing a component, right? There's just a glove hanging this Yone that really wants to be an IE right now.
This is a little bit more on that old school Yone. After a couple patches, some people stopped playing this, but this Yone can be quite strong, especially against teams that he is able to get into the back line for. And these ults are going to be how you do it. And the GA is so strong on this unit. Nice ult from the Cat. Steals a unit off the board. But at least we do turn around our fortune, as we do find someone fall below 40 HP, though, for the first time.
Yep. Stimmy. Just kidding. We left Stimmy in the last set. Roby Van Knoop, though, is playing Mercenary. I wanted to call it Fortune, but it's not. I got that stuck in my head from Keen during the Piltover Cup. But Roby Van Knoop does have Metabolic Accelerator, so they're healing up over time. Don't have to press the panic button, but I believe I saw they were level 7 on 0 gold. So really curious to see when they do finally cash out, because if they've been losing a lot of rounds, I think they have, it's going to be pretty big.
If we lose this round, we probably don't win a round without some really awesome hits, or maybe a nice carousel round. And we're still saving our Nikos here, which I totally agree with. We're over 50 gold. We can maybe wait to the next augment. We have double Celestial, which means that our units are going to be able to take down a couple other units, but they're all tier 1. All of our good units are tier 1 units right now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the greed has already set forth, so we're going to wait until, after this carousel, 4-5, level to 8, and roll down at that point. Nikos should be expended there, but this is a rough round.
Yeah.
Yeah, Grumpkin and Schneckik, this is what, a 7-0 it's looking like, and that's all the units because Galio counts as 2, so it didn't kill a single thing. Gets a component farmed off of him as well. 26 HP is enough, but this next roll down has to be exactly what Counts is looking for.
Okay, we do have the ability to grab a 5-cost unit off the bat. The Jace is definitely going to be a better one, but we're going to get the item instead. So some people will pick up the 5-cost unit just to put the double Nikas, give themselves a chance to make it to the augment here at low HP. But patience will pay off, and people like Roby have the metabolic accelerator, so they have a little bit of extra time than their HP actually gives off. But we're going to start with the bow there, which means that Roby is looking for some damage right now. And
yeah,
let's
Roby
go ahead and see that comp. Yeah, 4 bruisers. We got the cash. We're going to get some more econ. That's always really nice. And let's see what else is there. A bunch of 4-cost units and a thief's gloves. So after rolling completely down, we're going to hit 50 gold and completely reset our economy. Now what do you do, right? Because a lot of this gold is going to go up to going to level 8 potentially in the next couple rounds.
This is interesting. So I think, Double Last Whisper should not be the decision here. Okay. I think this is a bit of a misplay. You could go Giant Slayer on the Urgot and call it a day, but what we could have done is just put the Urgot that's on the bench in right now, put Last Whisper, Runeans, and made the IE on that. And so when you make Urgot 2, that bow just pops off, and so it's not stuck here awkwardly. It would have been a bit more power in this round. Not sure would have really made a difference. Maybe it would have killed 1 more unit or something. But really not in a position where you can afford to do that. 4 Chemtechs, still running 3 Mercenary, which I think once you cash out, you just drop Mercenary like instantly.
It's kind of a bait to keep it in. I've been baited many a time by keeping the extra mercenary in, because it's like, oh, if I cash out, it's an extra couple gold. But when you hit 5-1, 5-2, right, and you're kind of rolling with 8 gold around anyway, right, because you've leveled up to 8 and you have nothing, that extra 2 gold really isn't going to matter to you all that much, because say you're at 5 gold, you get the extra 2 or the extra 3, and then you have to roll down, and you're looking at that tier 2 5-cost unit you can't buy. Right in front of your face. So
I'll just say this is kind of a little unfortunate to watch here. There was the opportunity for a 5 Chemtech as well and drop the Misfortune. Sure, it's Misfortune 2. It does provide Sniper as well with that Kog'Maw, but really you want the gold as well, because selling Misfortune allows you 7 more gold if you're buying a Warwick. 9 minus 7, and then, or I guess 8 minus 2, so 6. It's not a full sell for 9 gold, but still it's a lot more gold to roll for that Urgot, which we really need right now, because Urgot 1's not going to be enough to win rounds. Maybe it'll be enough to win this round, but definitely not in stage 5.
Okay, here we go. These are really consequential for our bottom dwellers right now, and we need to pick up these wins. We do finally have that front line. We're going to cash out at least 1 loss, so it's going to be 4 gold. At least, I believe, as our top side of the leaderboard seems to be taking a good amount of damage, except for Schneckek, who, we saw a little while ago put up a pretty good comp about 5 or 6 rounds ago, and seems to just be investing in making that even stronger as we go into round 5-1, which is kind of the most realistic that you're going to see in terms of HP totals when we do enter a beginning round, because 5-1 is a little bit of a great equalizer. The game wants everyone to be a little close here, and this is where panic buttons should be starting to get pressed, especially if you're I Like Cats or Roby at this point in time. The amount of damage you take per round is just too much to really take any other losses from this point on.
Yeah. Oh my, I've never seen 2 tomes on a bench at once.
I wonder what this is going to end up being.
Yeah, there's so much that has to happen in this round. This, what, 90 gold roll down?
I'm actually not that envious here. There's a lot of decisions to make. This has got huge potential for dizziness and analysis paralysis. We'll see, though. Named Senile, that's not a good start.
I'm dizzy just looking at that spot in general. Like, what? We have to roll down, hit upgrades, find out what we're dropping, hit Gen 2, slam items, find 4 clockwork, maybe? Whoa, okay. Upgrades are not there. You can only do so much, right? Like,
yeah.
got 70 gold.
So much just happened just then, and we're still playing that turn. This is a full 2-round turn when it comes to what Senile is doing right now. We're also probably not even. We don't care at all if we win this round or not. It would be nice if we did, but we still have a lot to go. I mean, we have 73 gold to make this team stronger. We have 2 items on the bench in RFC and a Clockwork Heart, and we'll see if we get up to 4 Clockwork. We have some snipers. We're going to put in some protectors. It seems like we might put a little bit of blending in here, but it's going to be the 4 snipers that are going to be anchoring this composition with the emblem going on the Orianna.
I actually love watching spots like this because then you can determine the kind of player, the kind of caliber of player, right? Depending on how efficiently they do things. And it's a very hard spot to be in. I don't like being in this driver's seat unless I'm super comfortable with, what I'm transitioning into. But man, finally we've landed on a lot of good upgrades. Jin 2, MF 2, Janna 2, Blitz 2 as well on this board. So maybe we can start winning some rounds here. This Clockwork emblem is still a bit useless, right? 3 Clockwork isn't really a synergy. The RFC, I don't want to say goes to waste. It gives some attack speed to Orianna, but it's not going to be the best thing here. These rounds still might go not Senile's way. And yeah, with that Yone ulting again, it indeed will not.
That was like the world's greatest Blitzcrank pool, as well to keep the Jin safe from the Fiora. And even with that kind of peel, we weren't able to do it. I like Cats, though, having a little bit of a different reaction to our round 5s, as look at how these HP totals all of a sudden became even, right? You have to have a strong comp at this point in time, and if you don't, you might as well say goodbye. If you're at the top of the leaderboard, hopefully you have a 40 HP lead. If you're someone like Senile or Darth Nup right now, it kind of just feels like you're walking the plank sometimes. This is a good comp. We have some awkwardness to it. A tier 2 5 cost would be really nice. And we have the 4 snipers. We just got to keep this Jin safe because it's kind of our only damage right now.
Need to keep the Jin safe, and it will be. I mean, Blitzcrank will pull the opposite side, but the Katarina's next to it. Yeah, Katarina is just going to ult the Jin. Next ult, and there it goes. It is down. Daniel was in a fantastic spot to run Katarina, and look at this. Perfect item Katarina 3. Honestly, perfect item Echo 3 as well. Level 7, still 30 gold. That is the power of a strong Katarina opener with an augment like Metabolic Accelerator. Katarina comps don't usually win lobbies. They usually go like, third, maybe second. A lot of times, top 4ing is good enough, but Daniel's in a position where it can potentially win with this Katarina. But there is other compositions that are strong. A-Rat looked like they had Samira 3. So we'll see if anyone can put a stop to Daniel's wrecking crew here with that Katarina assassin comp.
In the top, down to Darth Nub, separated by just 28 HP right now.
Yeah, that's close.
That's 2 to 3 rounds. Once we do get to the Dragon and we get to round 6, a lot of our players are going to be dropping like flies, as we did finally have enough money to get to level 9 and not enough money to roll down once we got there, unfortunately. We do get the Jace 2, and we are going to get some nice units in. Still kind of awkward with the Clockwork, but look at that. You get the completion set there on the left side. No more synergies to be displayed.
Yeah, it's so aesthetic. Imagine you have Stand United with that. It's so nice. Don't have Stand United here. That is okay. And here we go. We get the 2 Clockwork in, the 4 Sniper. Tom Kent start eating some things, maybe generate some more components. The only thing is, Senile, if they take one bad fight, that's going to be in 8th place here. So it's going to be real tough against A-Rat, who has that Samira 3, and it's just deleting the whole board. Even with Jace 2, it is not going to be enough. You can have as much gold as you want, but the board was still not strong enough. Senile goes 8th.
So, I'm going to go ahead and vent a little bit about for some of these econ based
I love it.
Gold. Like, if you're gonna have 70 gold, please spend the 70 gold, right? We got one round's worth of 70 gold there, and I know that there were a lot of decisions to be made, but I think there was a lot of wasted opportunity just for the need to get maximum interest from every round, right? And I think we've seen a couple players get taken down because of that need to, not have an odd number on your volume or not order the same thing as someone else at your table. It kind of is like the same thing. And, sometimes it's just good to avoid that. But right now we do have Schneckek at level 9. This is a great team comp. Love the Orianna in the back to give a little bit of shielding to the Tom Kench in the front, who's pretty beefy. And he looks pretty hungry too. But this Cat 3, Echo 3 is going to be pretty annoying, especially if this Jinx gets hurt by that Frozen Heart, which kind of looks like that is going to be the place where she lands. We shall see. Oh,
Katarina's already dead, so I think this fight just definitely goes over to Schneckek here. And this Tom Kench just continues to farm item components. It farmed like 3 in the last fight. It farmed 1 this fight, maybe 2. Definitely at least 1 though. That is pretty crazy. And we see Daniel's composition is still super strong. Pushing levels with the Katarina composition is generally not great. You can go level 7 to fit Socialite in. And sure, that's great, but like going things like 6 sins is hard to get. Not going to improve your composition strength by that much. So just rolling for 3 stars is generally better. And we're going for Blitzcrank 3, Talon 3, and Shaco 3 as well right now. And we do have 6 sins in anyway, just because Daniel managed to find an Assassin emblem. So nothing really much more to do with this comp, besides we roll for 3 stars.
all right. We have to get to these 3 stars too in order to really push ourselves to a potential like easy lobby win, right? If we get to the tier 3 Talon, tier 3 Shaco potentially, that's going to just give us that little extra oomph, right, to get across that finish line. Because remember, once you do get to the finish line in any other race, you should be going faster than you were usually the entire time. So you're going to be pushing some of these levels. We're at level 7, which means that we have been rolling most of the time, and we are starting to get some pretty major eliminations now with everyone from Roby down potentially at 1 lost territory.
1 lost territory within these players. Not for Daniel, however, is going up against the challenger composition. And wow, yeah, this Yone making quick work of a lot of units, Katarina and Echo included. Daniel will take a loss, but still, you know, has a lot of HP. Is top of the lobby. Looks like Smurf Squatch did go out in 7th. No one else falls. But still, these, I mean, the HP totals as we had for basically 5 rounds now, they're all so close. Schneckig in a fantastic spot. You see them hit the Jinx 2 and Oriana 2. I don't know if Daniel can catch up to be stronger than that one at this point, because that Tom Kench was absolutely crazy. It already farmed like a full, you know, 6 components, if not more. We do find the Shaco 3, and you're going to swap the items over there. I think that is definitely the correct move. And I also want to take a second to compliment this positioning as well, or in the itemization. I think Echo having a belt is one of his best items, but okay, I'm just actually going to split them off, so my point is now moot. I will just ignore that point. But if Echo does roll like a Zeke's or a Banshee's Claw, you'll be able to give it to the assassin that are next to him.
Now we got some better targeting from this Katarina. The Onyx Spark is so good on Katarina. Not only does it give her a little bit of extra defense, it shreds the MR, which she needs to shred in order to get these one-shot kills, especially later on. And you're seeing the benefit of that Ionic right now, but the Vex not able to get to that last ult, and that is going to be another elimination. Rat hitting single-digit HP. So is Roby again, 6 and 5. We're very close to a top 4 at Crowan.
Yeah, Roby was our mercenary player earlier, did stabilize, was in a decent spot, but now an elimination point. Rat Samira 3 is fantastic. I almost feel like Darth Nub got kind of scammed that round. The Katarina was like so low, but then got the ult off, got the Gunblade healing. Healed all the way back up, not all the way back up, but enough to, you know, take out the rest of the board and allow Shaco to finish off the Vex. Splitting up the assassins, even going to make sure to get the best Blitzcrank pull possible. Spreading out as if they have exiles, but they don't. It goes up against A-Rat and the Samira 3 here.
Man, gotta love pulling those tanks towards your team, huh?
Yeah.
With the Blitzcrank, but it's gonna be the Camille this time around. Cat needs to avoid a singed, not a singed Swain ult, but is able to do it, and this should be a not okay for the Cat, but we do win by 1 unit there. If you are not enough, Rat and Roby both losing, but Rat gonna be reaping the rewards of that extra point in 4th place. And there are those early game units, right? I believe Rat had a pretty good early game coming into play. You know, 5 plus 13 minus 5 is 7. No, 8. Yeah,
we got there.
NA math, by the way. And, you know, that's 2 or 3 units at the beginning of, you know, the round, and 2-1 to like 3-5. So always take every part of the game seriously, because you never know. You never know.
Definitely. It's alright, I forgot that units sold for 1 less gold, like the you know, MF selling for 8 gold instead of 9 earlier. So we're both just struggling on the math train today, and hopefully not the players. Players are going to be calculating things out exactly, like Cat's rolling down for Yone 3, but we'll not have exact gold for that. In fact, it's going to be very far away, even with Nico's help on the bench. Unlucky rolls, I guess. Already have Yumi 2. Roll past that, but the board is still strong. It is not 6 Challenger, it is going to be 4 Academy and 4 Challenger. But that is great when you have an Academy emblem on the Fiora, and then a Yuumi and a Leona with full items. Like, this is such a good build here for Cats.
Oh, Fiora taking a little bit of a romantic walk on her own,
Yeah.
doing a little bit of self-care there. But we're going to then go into literally the middle of everything after the walk. Sometimes you just beef it when it comes to those enforcers, right? But this is not as far away as I think a lot of people had thought. That was only a 3 unit loss there, and it looked like it could have been a lot more, but that streak is over, and at round 6-6, 12 HP is 1 more loss. But I Like Cats had been hovering around the bottom side of the leaderboard almost this entire time, and good to see the top 3 coming out at the end.
Definitely so. Cats is on potential elimination point. The last round honestly could have gone either way. I think there's potential for the Yone Fiora to win that with a bit better RNG. Definitely is favored for that Tahm Kench Jinx composition from Snekic, though. But can Cats live another round? That's gonna be the question. This time facing the Assassins. Ooh, the Vantage Claw.
Assassin's going to be enough. The Kaisa takes the damage immediately. Fiora actually gets a really early ult as well. This double Celestial Blessing coming in really clutch, especially with these GAs. But the GA does not proc with the Yone ult available, so we actually don't get the healing past death, and we're going to lose out probably for a big reason because of that. You got to get the Yone to ult before before the GA procs, or else what you saw happen is exactly what happens. As both players enter round 7-1 on fire, but that's only going to be temporary.
Look how many items Snekic has. This is disgusting, and this is Tahm Kench value farming like 6 completed items. It's absolutely insane. I don't think Snekic can actually lose this.
Crazier things have happened. Sometimes positioning, sometimes the right Zephyrs, right, come into play. Redemption is probably good news for Daniel. Zeke's is going to be nice as well for most comps, but this Redemption is going to make it so AoE abilities hit a little less hard. So if we do face a Jinx, then we're going to feel a little bit better than that.
Me too.
We do get Yuumi 2 along with a scrap emblem. We have 3 scrap and no other items to use on them as we get to feed that Tahm Kench. Look how happy he is. I would be
31
that happy.
AP. He's so happy right now. And you know, Boop, I just got back from Vegas and I lost there, so I have to be right on this bet that I think Snekic will not lose another round. That is my call for this game. I think his board is way too strong. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, it depends if Tahm Kench is actually at the Bellagio buffet right now. Let's see. Oh, he gets pulled and is going to eat the Blitzcrank instead. The Katarina gets bursted down immediately. I don't really see how Snekic loses this either.
Yeah.
Crowan, because I think the craziest thing about this comp is we might end up having too many items here, because that Tahm Kench value a little bit too much, is that's going to be 2 components, and that's going to be an Imperial emblem. Let's see if we can fit that in somewhere.
Or Assassin. No? There's a glove on the Seraphine.
Do it.
Oh, it's
Assassin
gonna feed
Seraphine. Here we
More
go.
AP. Assassin Seraphine. IE Seraphine. I mean, nothing's good here. Oh, there's actually a spare rod on the Janna. I didn't see that.
Okay. Oh, so we're gonna let's see what the Yuumi rolls for that scrap value. I think an enchanter roll would be fine. I don't think you can do that though.
I don't think you can do that either, but that would be fun.
That would be super fun. Let's see what we get here on that roll. Nothing.
The Janna got the item.
The Janna got it, and it's going to be a Hextech Gunblade. We're going to move everyone away here for a second, get even more items, 2 components, to be honest with you, but this is not even close. This is going to be it. Snekic is going to win this first lobby pretty much pull to pull.
Yeah, that was absolutely dominant, and that is what happens when you get an early Tahm Kench, get 3 completed items on him, start feeding him up early as well, push 9. Kind of textbook the way that one ended, right? Katarina comps don't really contest first place that much unless it's relatively low roll end of the lobby. And we saw that really unfold just like it should. So we have the scores ready. We want to take a look at those. Snekic is in first place with 10 points. Daniel in second. Cats in third. A-Rat in fourth. Then Roby Van, Darth Nub, Smurf Squatch, and Senile Null down the line there. But that was a kind of interesting game number 1, I would say, Boo.
Yeah, a little bit more traditional. Usually during fight night, some crazy stuff happens because some sacrifice that's been made to the Mort God beforehand makes something crazy. I'll never forget Yiggle's a 6 spatula game back
Was
in
it
the
6
day.
spatulas? Oh my
Yeah,
god.
yeah. So, that's usually what happens. But this time around, I think the biggest thing was, what do you do when you're at 70 gold? And you have a
Yeah.
lot to do in that round, right? When is the best time to utilize that gold? I think the easy thing would be, hey, let's try not to carry all of that gold where we can't make decisions in time. I've seen people use it a good amount of gold on the last augment round because you do get a little extra time there. But what
Yep.
about you? I mean, we were stuck at 72 gold and then we ended up only using it for one round. What do you think?
I mean, I do think probably some weight should have been invested to using it a bit earlier. I'm not. Was that the round that they leveled up? Because if you are saving gold to then level up and roll, it's a bit harder to do all of that. It's just you needed to already have in your mind what units am I for sure getting rid of on my bench, because the bench space I think took up a lot. You should just be okay with sacrificing some units, even if you kind of want them. They might come back later, and you're more likely to be able to find your upgrades that are super important, like the Jin, like the frontline, things that they didn't really, they weren't able to get on the initial roll down. And ultimately, it did cause 1 or 2 losses in a row back to back. And honestly, it's very greedy to play around that +7 econ from Rich Get Richer in general. So maybe just a conversation of not trying to get baited by that one in general, if you can't make decisions fast enough, which obviously it's hard to even for the best players.
Okay, we're already into our second lobby. Going at a quick clip here. Something that I wish to see one day. I want to see a Protector comp. Just
Yeah,
play
I think
at
we
some
might.
point. They're really fun to play, and there are a lot of really fun Protector spatted units you could use as well. One of my favorite recently, I got to play Protector Malzahar with mutants. That was
Ooh.
super fun. But yeah, a lot of things to do. It's one of the more versatile emblems I think we just never see. As we're going to start with Garen with the belt. I like starting with belt because if I don't build my tank items first, they ain't never getting built. So this it like forces me to actually focus on that front line a little bit in the
Yeah.
early game.
Hey, with some comps you don't need them at all. Run cat, run Trundle reroll. You don't need the frontline items. You just
Okay,
need
Trundle
some.
is the front line in that. Okay.
True.
All right. Let's just like old versions of Trundle. Why does that unit, for some reason, we're always like Trundle,
Yep.
Trundle,
As that
Trundle.
2-cost menace that he is.
Such a good unit in general. Speaking of pretty good unit, Camille, I think we haven't really seen a lot of in the early game. We got to see a little bit of it before, as we do get to see our first augments here. Shady Business, Hidden Blade, and Ancient Archives. A lot of people will go Tome here, but
Yeah, definitely Tome here, because even if you're not insta-popping the Tome, it's going to give you more of a decision than locking in Assassin or Syndicate at this point, which feels pretty bad. It will be Tome. I think potentially if Darth Nub does find a couple of upgrades and a couple of innovators, maybe snapping the tome early to try to find the third innovator is worth it. It is still a big risk though, because if you're under a certain level, it is going to be random. I think you need to be at least level 5 and then play a board for a whole round. Then it will take a couple of those synergies that you're playing.
I don't like using the Tome the round I get it, because you just never know.
Yeah.
Right? It's a little bit more controllable when you know
For
the
sure.
rules and you're like, okay, let me just use it for a round. It'll take everything that I have on the board and then I can use it and have a little bit more control. And that's what they mean by like controlling RNG.
Yep.
Right? You're controlling the
Exactly.
RNG by manipulating your board, which then manipulates the tome percentages, right? As this is I think people would love getting this start when it comes to the items, but you don't like slamming Last Whisper. Rageblade this early can be a tad frustrating as well. You can put it on someone like Twitch or even the Talon, but what are you doing in this situation? Are you going to wait for some more components, or are you going to do some slamming?
Yeah, probably wait at this point, because we don't really know exactly what direction we want to go, and I think that also comes through with the choice of saving the tome. 3 units means you're okay with loss streaking. Talon means you're probably going to get 1, if not more, kills in a round, and it might be 2 here. If the Ziggs bleeds out in time, not quite, but it is still fine. 1 unit killed means we're happy with that one.
And we already have some Yordles getting propped up here for Smurf Squatch. And quick observation, we had like 3 or 4 Heimerdinger attempts and 0 results from Heimerdingers last time. I think everyone actually quit their Heimerdingers by the end of the round. Weird sentence. Senile now, our friend with 1.5 million gold, now going to be running a Bruiser comp. One more innovator remaining to get some, crabs. Get a crab party on there.
Well, we'll see. We have... Okay. Scouting out the augments. See metabolic, see trade sector. That's fantastic. Very, very, I think, I mean, it can be imbalanced, some of the early, tier 2 augments, if you're going up against, say, like, Rich Get Richer, but I don't think there's actually any here. So Slamming IE and Glove on the Ezreal, not bad at this point. Not really great synergies being run, but it is okay to kill maybe some units, potentially. I don't know, this Ezreal might not even get through the Darius here.
Oh, especially if the Darius ults. Oh, we need one more.
Nope.
Ring around the rosy for the Darius there in front of the Ezreal. That was actually pretty intense that, Ezreal could attack that many times and not get a single kill out of it.
Yep. I think that augments salvage bin, right? Because that's the way they have the depleted item, I believe, so they can sell their units to then get the components back.
Mm-hmm. Got 3 metabolic accelerators. Trade sector.
It's so good.
Thrill of the Hunt, Sunfire Board, Celestial Blessing. Look at me go! On just the logos. So here we go. This is going to be, like you said, the salvage bin.
Yeah.
Which is when no. The Pandora's items is when you get a component.
Yeah, you get a completed item, and then you can sell the units to break down the items for components.
Which I always forget about until I sell a unit and I go, oh.
And you're like, oh yeah.
How long could I have done this for?
And then it's always so awkward when you have a component on somebody, but you want to put a full item on them and not make the component, but you can't do that because you have salvage bins. So it's like, oh my god, this is the worst.
Exactly. My favorite is swap and spats when it comes to a salvage bin.
That's fun.
Yeah, so you can keep breaking and change your synergies every kind of round, which can be fun, but it's also can be frustrating too, because if you're trying to do like Zephyr tricks, you're going to now need to put 2 components on in time. Same thing with things like trap claws and stuff like that, and shrouds.
You have more APM. APM need to go up for that one. Metabolic means that these legends are running really, really fast, but we have our stage 2 carousel coming to a close. Senile was in 8th place last game, but hopefully they won't get quite as dizzy this time around with a lot of pivoting to do. There is an Echo and a Katarina in this shop. That'd be nice for a cat player, but Senile is already pre-leveled up to level 5. Ramble on the Alawi is going to be pretty good, but it will actually just be the not a full pivot to like a full Katarina comp, right? But it is going to be at least a Katarina item carrier, which I think is a super good decision from here.
Can't put 2 IEs on the same person.
No.
So we're just going to put some components on this Katarina should actually pop these Yordles, no problem. Weird visual. But once we get to these ults, they should be just fine. Even the Katarina auto attacks are going to be pretty brutal, as Darth Nub still has that tone on the bench, and it's 20 HP down from last place, or was here at 68 HP. That means we've been wiped every single round so far.
Yeah, it could potentially go to 58 if they get 5-0'd into Krugs, and with playing a board and not full open forwarding, that does feel pretty bad. See if they can at least kill 1 unit here to stay 60 or above. Daniel, our Katarina player from last game, going innovators this time around. No Katarina items, is going to be a Morello Slam instead. Goes on to the Echo. Solid item carrier choice there.
Echo is such a good holder for Morellos. If you can't find the TF, right, Echo's definitely a little rarer, 3 cost, but the Morellos, I don't know how many more and how many other ultimates cover that amount of space to tag the Morellos like it does. So it takes the need away for augments like Sunfire board that some other boards might absolutely need because they don't have that anti-heal available for them. Unfortunately, this ult from the Echo, the opponent's Echo, substantially better than the ult from our own Echo, but this one's going to be pretty big. This actually could be a win for the Camille because of the Morellos. They're nice shield there. That was so close. So close.
Thrill of the Hunt almost made it happen. That was so close to being a Camille 1 win against 1v4 units.
Camille 2 would have won that, no problem.
Yeah,
but again,
that's the power of the Echo.
Yeah, Morello's on Echo, right? An Echo 2 would have probably done enough damage with the ult to get that going. But yeah, if you need proof that Morello's is good on Echo, there it is.
Any upgrade honestly could have done the job there. We'll see upgrades players are able to find for their units and their items here, because we are on Krugs. Bit of a moment of reprieve. And Darth Nub got 5-0'd. They are at 58 HP right now. bit low.
Yikes. So hopefully we're gathering a lot of economy there, and then we're going to be able to re-roll into something really strong and then start winning. Maybe we're running Mercs right now as well. Didn't quite see exactly what the comp was outside of staring straight at the tome on their bench, which might still be there as we're crab raving right now for Daniel's board, and we're going to add a little bit more power to it as well. We've got a nice front line, but the crab is going to get increased stats by tier 2 to innovator units, and we do have the Singe, so it is going to find a little bit of purchase there as Darth Nub has 2 tomes now. One for each hand, 2 tomes, 2 hands. And we're going to go ahead and re-roll some items too. Nice, actually pretty good re-roll there.
Very good.
Putting it into an IE root ends, which is going to be some good itemization for the Samira, and we should win this out. And we'll see if we're going to pop those tomes there to potentially get our Imperial 5.
Yeah, this is, I think we were talking about this like 2 or 3 weeks ago. It's like, oh, the 3-2 Samira roll down. Do you stabilize? Do you hit your Samiras? Do you hit the Swain 2? And I mean, Darth Nub right here does, and has the opportunity to hit 2 Imperial emblems and just have 5 Imperial right now. That would be so crazy. The Econ is a bit damaged, but I think it's okay from this spot. Darth Nub can Econ back up because their board is just so good. Really curious as to what these tomes are going to pop. Here, we're going to start using them.
Oh, okay, so we whiffed?
Yeah, Arcanist can get a little bit of value. It gives Arcanist
this is
to
a
the
whiff.
team.
Let's be real.
Okay, I actually don't think the Arcanist is like a... Okay, it is a whiff, but it's not like the worst whiff, I suppose.
True.
This is a bit less of a whiff. Challenger from this spot I think is going to be pretty okay. We can go forward Challenger. There we go. We're gonna put the Arcanist emblem on just literally anybody. Maybe Talon, you know, make him have everything. No, it's gonna go on the Zac for now. But Arcanist still giving 20 per AP to the whole team. Like that still does some work, right? Like it's not useless.
And we should be win streaking from this point on for at least up until the next PvE round. That is the goal, especially at 58 HP, because if we do win streak from this point, that means we're taking HP away from the top side of the leaderboard, and it should be more like a 80 to 60 spread throughout the entire lobby for that reason. But we also have Metabolic on 3 different players, so we are going to be gaining a good amount of HP throughout some of these rounds as we pick up our next augment. No prismatic augments yet today. As we get to our common augments, it's going to be Dominance.
It'll be Dominance, and I mean, this board does look pretty dominant, so I do like that decision there. Is going to be Arcanist. Echo now does give Assassin to the Talon. He's going to be doing a bit more damage. Honestly, it's just who gets farmed by Darth Nub. And honestly, it's kind of the 3-2 lottery, right? If you're trying to go on a win streak, but you haven't like rolled down super aggressively at 3-2, it's do you matchmake into players who have rolled down all of their gold? If so, you take, 18, 20 damage, maybe. I mean, probably not that much, probably like, between 10 to 15, but still, it feels really bad when you run into a player as strong as Darth Nub at this point, and he's still rolling. I think this is definitely incorrect, but...
Definitely incorrect. That is, I think this is definitely incorrect. It reminds me of some Anchorman right there.
I hate speaking in absolutes. You can tell just the way I phrase things naturally.
I'm totally the opposite. I'll be like, yeah, do you have any proof? Nope. But intention is important, and this Samir quite intentional on the board right now. The Arcanist is pretty helpful, but the IE, we don't even need the Runes. I think the IE would have been enough here to start streaking, and we have 3 wins in a row. That's perfect, and you're already seeing the middle part of the leaderboard starting to lose that HP and start getting even towards Darth Nub, and that is why, friends, you don't look at the HP totals to know exactly where the board is. So, you know, if someone's like, Darth Nub's in last place, right? He might be in last place, but does he have the last place composition right now? I don't think so.
Actually, I'm thinking back on my previous statement, Boop, and I'm thinking with dominance and with the upgrades that Darth Nub was sitting on, maybe it was worth it to roll down for until you get at least 1 upgrade. I mean, they made 2 gold last round, I believe, from dominance, plus 1 from the win, and then the win streak as well. So maybe it'll end up being worth it. I'm not sure though. That'd really be interesting to sit down and kind of really crunch the numbers there on that math, like how many units you need to win to actually make that roll down worth it. And is it worth the potential HP preservation with how strong that board already was? It's honestly an impossible answer. It's just my TFT nerd brain being like, oh, I wonder what was what most players would have decided there. It's interesting though.
And this is probably the weakest board you'll ever see at 94 HP.
Yeah, what is this?
To be completely honest with you, like, this is shocking.
This is a Tarek diff, I guess.
I think I don't know if we actually Tarek 2'd that this round, but I mean, that doesn't look that strong. The items don't look amazing. They're on a tier 1 Blitzcrank. Our carry right now is Ziggs. When it comes to the damage.
I refuse. The carry's not the Ziggs.
And it looks like we might actually pull off another win here if we're able to get this Malzahar and the Ziggs going. The Ionic Spark GA Warmogs, great roll there, but we might lose our streak here. Honestly, we got a deal out of this streak, a 7 streak with going into, round 4-1 here soon, 84 HP with that comp. We're kind of lucky.
Yeah, that was definitely scammed, that win streak. It went on for way too long, it looks like. That's the power of matchmaking, right? Roll into some favorable matchups, continue to streak, dodge players that are really strong.
Yep.
And there you go, recipe for success.
Yep, this team will win attrition-based fights most often. We'll have a harder time against others, so the ones that are kind of running similar comps will lose against that itemization. As we see a lot of Echoes and not a lot of Heimerdingers this time around. Just one Innovator comp I'm seeing so far.
That's interesting, because, I mean, I guess there's maybe not many Innovator hearts or emblems, if any, and generally players will really lean into that direction if that is going to be the case. So maybe in some subsequent games we'll be able to see that a bit more. Tarek's heals are decent, and wow, good enough to win this round. I mean, the Titans Blitz ended up stacking all the way up to 25. Beats Smurf Squatch here. Cannot complete the full win streak into Wolves, but still a decent one nonetheless. And here's the Yordle player, and a lot of gold actually, being on level 7 on Wolves, 58 gold after buying these upgrades a little less, but that's still a good board, a lot of upgrades here.
And we've already seen tier 1 Vex do enough, especially with this item, the Thorn Mail. You take crits away from that shielding, then you're going to be able to find value from it. We also have the Nikos, so we're pretty flexible right now. 54 HP might feel like a little, but with this comp, we've been printing money this entire time. We're on a 9 loss streak right now, and we got awful items.
Yeah,
for this particular comp. So all of the good things I was about to say might be changed right now, because this is not the itemization you wanted to see for this comp particularly. Hey, we're running Bruisers. Hey, we're running Vi. This would be great, but that we are going to do what we can.
Wow, selling a Malzahar 2 with the Shojins. And rolling into a Lux 2? Wait, you did have to play that, no? Oh my god. I mean, I guess the items are not great, but still.
So we're gonna win. This is something you don't see very often, folks. This is going to be like an attrition-based Yordle comp, and we need items on Heimerdinger to do it. So as much time as possible wasted on the Vex. Vex still alive, doesn't get to that last ult. That Vex ult, I actually think we at least take down 2 more units. Dominance, though, going to feed Darth Nub a little bit more economy as we are back to 50 there. This lobby not really running away with anything right now, as we saw the strongest comp earlier with nothing, pretty much. So everyone has a little bit of an opportunity to catch up.
Smurf Squatch on 10 losses. really wanting to make this Seraphine work. Has 4 scholars, even has the first aid kit, I believe that is, as well, for the increased shielding and healing. So Seraphine's going to get a lot of value there, and, you know, might as well just roll a Jace on your first couple of rolls at level 8. Why not? Feels good. The rest of the rolls aren't really coming through, but at least we have 3 Innovator online now.
We got Vex 2 as well, which is nice. The Janna is going to be really nice for heal if we don't get it. Oh, but we're selling all of
Just
them
kidding.
now. We are moving into Enchanter Socialite. We like the items on the Jace better, and this is a result of what we said earlier. Yikes, these items are not good for this comp, and so we're switching it instead to find a comp that it might find a little bit more value on, and those items on the Jace are going to find much more value than someone on like a Poppy or something that we already saw in the front line earlier.
Yeah, the Vex may have been better, question mark, but we're really pivoting out of those Arcanists means that you don't really want to run that anymore. And this Jace, I mean, hey, Jace is really strong. Enchanter's in there, he's going to get healed up by Taric and the rest, even though the Seraphine got hooked and instantly killed. It's still okay, and Nico's help us on the bench, so wow, rolling even just passively a lot of upgrades. Lissandra 2 is big, especially being the Morello's holder. She's does a lot of work with that one.
We're going over to Daniel now, currently in first place, running the Trundle, not even needing to re-roll. This is how slow this lobby is, friends.
Yeah.
This comp is not that... I mean, it's strong. At least we have tier 2 units, but tier 1 Mundo, the only itemization is the Trundle and the Lissandra. But like you said, Lissandra with Morella is so good, and with the Shojins, we're going to be able to get a couple more ults. And the one we're going to ult a lot earlier than the Lissandra on the other side, and everyone for Smurf Squatch did just get taunted, but there is a lot of healing on Smurf Squatch's side, along with first aid. So there's going to be a lot of health that you don't quite see on their HP that they're going to have to chew through as well, and it doesn't look like they're able to do it.
Yeah, the Jace is still alive and gets the shields for himself, and they're going to be healed back up by Seraphine as well. It might end up being Smurf Squatch taking the win. I think so. It is now overtime, and yeah, Lissandra's not going to be able to do it. She will heal or ult herself one more time, but I think that's going to be it. And yes, it is. Oh, wait, no more time. There we go.
Almost took an extra unit off. But again, the lobby's super close still. 63 HP at the top of the leaderboard. Again, means no one is running away with this. Everyone eligible for the win. So if you're someone like Cats or Smurf Squatch who have been kind of slow going and low rolling a little bit throughout a lot of these rounds, you're still in it now. Because sometimes you've been kind of eliminated from top 4 contention based on just what comps are being run at this moment in time, but everyone's still able to push themselves to the top. Darth Nub, for example, hasn't lost since we saw him roll down for that Samira with IE Runins, right? And that comp not necessarily super strong either, at least the last time that we saw it. So still a lot of opportunities. So the first person who really gets to level 8 and gets to those tier 2 4 cost units will sprint ahead of a lot of these players.
Yeah, we saw a few players go level 8 here, as is common on 4-5, rolling it down with perhaps, between maybe like 20 to 40 gold on average. Just kind of depends on the state of their game. Daniel not slamming anything for the third item on the Trundle, and is not running scrap either, so that bow is just going to maintain to be a bow. That's okay though. HP difference is not that great in this lobby. It's just a 23 gap between first and 8th, but Daniel is on the top of that, so can maybe justify taking a loss or two.
We do have the Innovator recharge. So when an Innovator is alive, the Innovator cannot actually be taken down, and it's going to get a third life here, I believe, especially if the Seraphine ults again. And we get a lot of value out of, it's Crab Lake season right now, I believe. So the Deadliest Catch, not quite going to win the round for us, but does help out in terms of getting to a couple of these units to get taken down.
That was almost Lissandra win there. It actually was in her ultimate form and tanked the whole MF ulti and shrugged it off, for lack of a better term. Shrug it off, probably not what's going to be picked by Daniel here. But instant injection is interesting. Running 3 Chemtechs, gonna look to make it more with Urgot and Zac once they join the team. Gets to now at least run level 8 for the Ezreal, get some scrap online. No Innovator 5. I don't really think we're going that direction either way.
So if we hit that Lux 2 earlier, right, and I think we committed, I forget who that was. I think we probably would have been able to win streak based on where this lobby is. I think in terms of scouting, the strongest lobby I saw was a Lux lobby. It was Rats, and they literally just got 2 more upgrades there. So with the type of lobby this is, if you find yourself in a lobby like this, it really truly means that tier 2 to 4 cost units just aren't really happening yet, and you might want to start rolling maybe a little bit more than you might, because you're all competing at the same time, right? You're all pacing each other, and so sometimes those rolls are going to be super, super important, as Darth Nub, who did lose out on that win streak on that last round, is going to be the next opponent here for Daniel.
Yeah. Oh man, this is going to be a really good Samira build here. Maybe not best in slot per se, but the Hodge is still fantastic here. Heals are back up, and Darth Nub is level 8, has pushed levels. Instead of rolling for like Talon Swain Smear 3, this is a viable strategy, especially considering how weak the lobby has been, as kind of you were talking about, Boop. But still, 3 Smears away on level 8, you still can hit 3 cost reasonably well. I think there's still definitely potential for that Smear to be a 3-star and maybe take over the lobby.
We have 50 gold and a Nikos. We also have a JG available for Senile right now. Could be fun on the Lissandra, but it looks like we are running twin shots more so than anything right now, with the itemization going on to the Gangplank. Those might go over to someone else later, but this Gangplank is where almost all the damage is right now.
Definitely gonna go over to Urgot once he is gonna be that tier 2. I wanted to greet out items as well, and hey, Hodge and Spark, certainly not bad. Spark can go on the Mundo. Doesn't really need another Hodge. Oh, actually, again, Senile had that salvage bin. These items can be whatever he wants. Funny how that one happens. Forgot about that one, right?
We literally talked about that exact situation happening. Right around 5-1, we break apart the items. You're like, oh my god, I have so many choices. And so not only are you going to be able to break apart those items, now we're a little dizzy because we just have so many choices. Sometimes versatility leads to paralysis, and that does seem to be the case right now, as we are going to continue attempting our best to put these items on in the best possible configuration. Wow. Nice last second Hodge, but the reload a little bit too slow.
No Rudans. I mean, I get it feels bad to get rid of, or to not run the last Whisper with the IE, but I think that's okay. I think Rudans is just so much value, you don't really want to pass up on that from Senile, but now we're still running 4 Chemtech to take instant injection, so really want to run that 5 Chemtech. Warwick gets bought, and okay, it does go on in. Still, we're in a similar spot as last game, right? A large roll-on had to happen. It didn't really all happen in time, although it was better than the last game, and so we're on 2 lives left with a decently strong board. Still 2 Lissandras left to go.
Ooh, okay.
We like that. Right. We like that.
We like that. Hey, and an Ionic Spark, that's going to make the Lissandra a little bit stronger, but not until that second ultimate, it looks like, as Gangplank going to walk a little far away, but all eyes on Urgot, and unfortunately Urgot going on the trampoline, barely staying alive, with the Lissandra ult going to eat him up, no problem. And that's a huge loss against Smurf Squatch, who has been biding their time, and that first aid comp is one of the best healing comps I've seen so far. Makes me want to do it, but you kind of need those augments in order to make this work.
Units just don't die, and we saw that right there, right? Everything was alive. Narrowly misses out on killing a Senile. Cats does take the 8th place here in game number 2. -3 HP. We have another Urgot player, have a Lux player. And we also shout out to the Riot team. We don't have to worry about the Socialite Hex bug. It has been micro patched, so thank you for that. Don't have to worry about competitive integrity at all.
How cute.
But still, Socialite is in the back middle. Not going to be utilized here for Senile, but oh man, these items are just awkward all across the board. Double Ruden's Yone, and that's it for Roby.
Urgot is going to have to go to Marshall's and get a deal
Uh-oh.
right now. And unfortunately, the CC is just too much. The Urgot not good enough. And we're going to see this Urgot. Man, that's got to be frustrating.
It's actually, oh man, the clone beat Schneckig. Or was that Schneckig? I think it might have been.
As we see the Urgot win that round. But we do have 2 eliminations, top 6 right now. Everyone looking up at Smurf Squatch, who played a very slow early game, but since the whole game was slow, we were able to power up into this very kind of heal-based attrition comp with the damage coming in from things like Orianna and our other backline units. But this also, i.e. Jeweled Gauntlet Lux, should be pretty good against that comp particularly. So we'll see which one will end up taking the dub there. Smurf Squatch definitely developing that lead. This might not even make it to round 7 if Smurf Squatch is able to continue winning out here.
Yeah, Smurf Squatch is the player that I was like, I'm not sure I agree with this earlier, but now seeing how it's come through, I'm like, okay, I admit I was wrong about that. I think I underestimated personally the power of First Aid Kit and how, you know, a Seraphine won, and I mean, it was kind of a lucky roll for the Jace one, but hey, sometimes you just hit and you get away with it, right? Because that Jace one was doing absolutely a ton of work, and it's gonna be the matchup here. Now it's gonna be Seraphine 2. Orianna 2 in the backline, still a Jace 1, so we might not have as much staying power as before, but no, just kidding, he does.
He gets that shield too, you know? I think a lot of people forget that like these self shields on these ults are going to get a little bit of help there too. Things like Hextech Gunblades, things like Vex, for example, are going to get bigger shields. Leona's get stronger in that situation as well. So Smurf Squatch not really struggling right now at all. Kind of an awkward lobby, to be completely honest with everyone. As definitely. This comp that we're seeing right now kind of tells the story of this lobby. Which is, we're trying. We're trying to make this work. Yeah, we're trying to make this work. Double Ruden's RFC on the Yone is okay, right? We would really love to get some more damage or some even more defensive ability, but we at least get our cybernetic heart. We do get through a little bit of that armor as well with these augments, and we have been hyper rolling too. So it's a little interesting that this comp has had such a hard time getting those tier 2 units. But the thing about this comp though is it is the fastest late game comp in terms of damage, and if it gets going and it gets through your front line quick enough, there's nothing that's going to stop it.
Oh yeah, as soon as that Yone ult came online, he didn't really get CC'd. It got sent straight to the backline to Lux. It was definitely just lights out from there. And okay, Smurf Squatch showing that the comp maybe can bleed. It doesn't lose that round, but does get taken down to just a few units. Roby Van Kano still rolling, trying to hit some upgrades, whether it be Leona, Fiora, or Kaisa. All of them would be really, really good and really important upgrades.
We at least got the 6th challenger. We have the academy. We have an extra front line, and this Giant Slayer is really nice on a Kaisa, and that's gonna be where this goes. As it's nice to split the damage and apply it evenly. We're going to be able to get that Jace as well. So we have some thinking to do on this next round in terms of which Enforcer we're going to play. We can't just put the Jason in front of one of these Leonas as well.
Yep. Just could just go in there, but I think the priority, the priority is just going to be on finding the upgrades. Ooh, did not have enough gold to just sell the Camille's and level up that upgrade, so I have to sell either the Leona pair or the Kaisa pair to get that online, and Roby did do one of those things. Not sure quite which. Rolling is the theme for all these players. Are we going to hit? 2 Luxes away from Lux 3.
Lux 3 is a win condition. I rarely have seen Lux 3 lose out. It would take other things like Yone 3 to really do it. The Locket isn't going to really add that much value. We got to get to our ultimate. We do get 2 with 14 million damage.
What?
That is a lot of damage coming in from the Lux, but that's taken down by the Fiora. It doesn't matter. As Darth Nub, who was the one on that win streak for a while at 58, is actually going to finish in 6th place in this lobby, in which I think the only time this First Aid Kit comp really wins is in a lobby like this.
Yeah. Wait, I think that happened 2 games in a row. Darth Nub kind of, I don't want to say like scammed in these fights, but the Lux is down to 1 HP like 3 times, then she barely got her ultimate off. That feels so bad for it to happen 2 times in a row to Darth Nub, where it's like, the fight was so close. If you play that fight out 10 times, like you probably would win half of those, but just unlucky roll the dice there. End up with a 6th. yet again. But we have our top 4, yeah.
Yep, Smurf I think has the lead for sure. I think they're going to have to do some
Yeah.
unforced errors on their end, as we have a Bloodthirster, Last Whisper, Giant Slayer Jin. So that's going to be nice to start, and it's going to give us a potentially extra couple shots at this ultimate because of the shield. And we're actually doing a lot of damage right now. The Lux not really doing much here, as the Giant Slayer is going to do a lot of damage. And so it seems like we have a rock, paper, scissors situation, or as my elementary school friends would be, rock, paper, and then Smurf Squatch is God. It beats everything. Because 9-year-olds hate
played with that
losing.
rule.
Yeah, I'm sure other people have probably experienced similar rules in their games as children.
That is true. There were some other ones that were like, okay, that beats everything. Haha, I win. But...
like laser. It's like, what?
Yeah, it's like,
you can't just... And they always do it without telling you. Like, you just know the rule.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, no one plays with laser. Anyway.
No.
Man,
yeah,
my blood is boiling. Yeah, I know, right?
Flashbacks.
I know, seriously. And the Jace here has the complete opportunity to not take any damage because of these ults. Oh, the Arcanus ult comes through. The Lux isn't going to be able to get there. We need another Jace ult in order to survive, but the Lux is going to start getting there. Another big Jace ult, but that is not going to be enough as Schneckek falls. 9 HP to 73. First aid is going to... It looks like it's going to win the lobby.
Yeah, unless a miracle can happen and a rat can get Lux 3. But while a rat did win that last fight, that's not going to go a rat's way every single time, for sure. Oh man, Smurf Squatch metabolic value as well, up to 75 HP. This is so rough, and yeah, Lux 3 doesn't come through. The percent chance of winning for a rat right now is so low.
But not zero. We've seen some frustrating things happen in TFT where some people just outposition you 6-7 rounds in a row, and that is going to be the minimum that I think Rat needs in order to come back to potentially compete for this lobby. But a Quad Scholar here, not something you see all that often. Major AP here as well. Itemization not even on the Heimerdinger, it is on the Seraphine. The Archangels is not going to find a ton of value there, but is going to find the value here. And, you know, you can't not notice it. It is that Enchanter bonus, I think, at the end of the day, keeping the Lux at bay.
Smurf Squatch winning the lobby with 75 HP. Sure, some of that is the power of Metabolic Accelerator, but such a dominant game there. I'm definitely put in my place a little bit there. I'm like, oh, passing up a Lux too, selling a Mouse too as well at that point. And I mean, arguably could have ran it for a few more rounds and then pivoted into that, but that pivot was pristine. That board was absolutely fantastic. What do you make of that game overall, Boop? Because it's definitely a weird game, I would say.
Super weird.
But we did see a lot of, or at least some cool things, especially with Sasquatch there.
Yeah, we really didn't see some hyper-powered lobbies there. Not a lot of Tier 2-5 cost units. But it was really cool to see first aid use like that, along with Metabolic. So I'm here for it.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, here for the scores as well, as we got those after game number 2 all ready to go. Schneckek in the lead with 17 points. A-Rat consistently top 4ing. Got a 4th and then a 2nd, has 14 points. Daniel and Smurf Squatch tied with 12 points. And then we have Ruby Van, I Like Cat Starthub, and Senile Null in 8th place. But still, 2 more games to go. There is a bit of wiggle room, but you know, Boop, I haven't really been, you know, paying attention that much to Red. I don't think we've had their POV for a couple of these times, but I think this kind of Samira board that they've been piecing together seems still pretty strong in this kind of meta. The re-rolling, if you're not playing Cat, there's still, you know, other options. I don't think we've really seen any Protectors, Auric, or Trundle, but Samira has been there for a couple games now, I think.
Yeah, and it's been top forward and not top forward, I think a couple times too, because Darth Nub was running Samira as well. He got 6th in that last round. So it is really hit and miss and really lobby dependent. Depends on who other who else is running reroll, because no one is running reroll cat in that lobby.
Yeah.
So that was just available for the
Game
taking, and no
without
one
cat.
took it. No one playing Heimerdinger there. We haven't seen any Pogma, unfortunately, which I really wanted to see today. We still have two
True.
more lobbies, but there's a lot we haven't seen. And the cat definitely isn't like, everyone isn't trying to eat up these units. It really
Yeah.
hasn't been that successful. It's top forward, but has been easily countered by our winning lobbies so far.
Yeah, definitely. And kind of like you mentioned earlier, I think you had a good read on the meta that like players are definitely leaning away from the cat right now. Still willing to play it if it's a good spot for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we've had 2 games now where it has been a tier 2 augment to start. It's really good to do that with Melobotic Accelerator as well as Rich Get Richer and things like that. But players aren't really forcing it, all holding hands and go in 8th place maybe if they don't hit. But still 2 more games to go, and with that, we'll be going to a quick break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Fun Night Rising brought to you by Wisdom. Welcome back, everybody, to Fight Night Rising, brought to you by Wisdom. 2 games have already been played, but still 2 more are left to go. Schneckik is currently in the lead, but a rat is not too far behind, only 3 points away, looking to be back-to-back week champion. But hey, anything could happen. Still 2 more games, Boop. I mean, there's a lot that could happen, a lot that we haven't seen yet in terms of compositions as well, I think.
Yeah, we haven't seen anything really from the EU side of things, which maybe we're kind of seeing some regional differences, right? I think the biggest regional difference in TFT has always been the Chinese meta versus the other meta, which is always the case because Chinese meta in most games is the best meta, in my opinion, particularly in some MOBAs out there. DK Gaming.
Yeah, we saw with TFT Worlds too. Finally, I mean, China hasn't done super well in the first 2, but then it was Quan actually coming out and winning in set 5.
It's usually more aggressive. It's usually a lot flashier, and you know, maybe we're kind of seeing some differences. Maybe the European crowd likes hanging out into the back row, right, putting items on Kog'Maw, as opposed to some other units. And maybe here in NA has always liked, you know, for example, the last set, and he played more Draven than any other region, I believe. So, you know, maybe we're kind of starting to see this. And that's like the best part about these cups and these international competitions happening at kind of the clip, especially starting next year, which is we're going to see the regional differences in terms of play and how, you know, protector reroll comps might look different across the ocean, for example. And, you know, in Australia, they just play backwards. So you just you don't really know what to expect.
Or upside down, one of the 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of, you got the first Wraith coming up with a full OCE cast, right? That should be fun.
Yeah, that should be super fun. We got some crossovers there with Navi Oot, who I've been watching play Hearthstone for like 4 or 5 years now. That was actually kind of like a double take moment for me. And then you've got Esha, who I hope wears, you know, what he wears. And,
wears what he wears. So,
so the maid outfit.
Or like the cow costume. He did one
of
those as
something.
well.
I hope there's something involved.
Maybe it was both. Maybe it was a cow maid costume.
Yeah, because
Esha's a wild one.
And then there's you know, and then there's Shunga, who I'm excited to get to know a little bit more of. And the best part about it is shipping for the spatula will probably cost more than the prize money. So it is
true.
It is going to be a pretty awesome first Wraith, in my opinion.
Looking forward to that one. I already had some banger episodes of that, so check that out when it does come through. But for now, still got some more Fight Night. It is the early game. We have a Scrap Heart for Smurf Squatch, and that is a very interesting choice. I think for Scrap, on like PvE, was like, oh, this is super good early game, right? Like Innovator was still good then, but Scrap was kind of the other thing. It's like, oh, we get so much component value. Units are pretty good, right? Trundle, you can run that in there. Echo as well, but it's definitely fallen off. So I'm curious to see how well it'll perform here.
Same. We saw a Trundle comp, but it was pivoted out of pretty quickly. As we're moving on over to Rat, who we now have an overlay for in a beautiful picture. And so it's not an actual rat playing. Who knew?
Wow, crazy.
I know. I mean, I thought this was science.
It really should be. It should be.
Or one of the arcane yordles that you know I'm talking about.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. But we will not revisit that until at least season 2 of Arcane. Season 2 waiting room.
Hey, it's canon. It's canon. It's in the show.
It is. It is canon. That's
spoiler
wild.
alert, by the way. You have to watch it. Arcane is so good.
It is
I know everyone has been saying it, but I'm just gonna say it one more time. It is so good. Also, I had a bud look up some old things, and if y'all are curious, apparently they've been leaking Arcane stuff since like 2017. In like a bunch of their content, because in the video Giants, you can actually see Powder in one of the billboards.
Wow, yeah, there's like some like hidden like voice lines as well that like make sense. I mean, this has been like Arcane was in production for so long that like, you know, they had to put some stuff in there, but it's just exciting to fully realize what that is all turned into. And speaking of,
we're gonna get
Silco.
Yeah.
Same thought, same time. Silco is coming to TFT at the mid set. That's crazy. I think that opens up the door for so many possibilities of like maybe even like Valorant characters in the future as well, because they tease kind of maybe some non-Runeterra characters coming to TFT as well.
Yeah, and it could legitimately just turn into kind of like a guest character type of situation like we
True.
see in some other games,
Yeah, we'll see
which
some
I'm all
Hokage
about.
synergy, set
Uh,
12,
One of
Naruto
my
collab.
suggested synergies has always been a Little Legend synergy,
Oh,
where they pick like the most popular Little Legends and give them all abilities for the game or something. But
that'd be
back to
cool.
the game, because I could geek out about Arcane and all of that for a very long time, especially how like even before Arcade came out, the set was a leak for it. The way that they
Yeah,
did it was so cool.
I know. Set 6 was just the biggest leak, actually, of anything. Oh man, crazy stuff. Crazy that a rat is able to win streak with this not fantastic board either, but it goes to show you the power of an early 3 syndicate potential if you do have upgraded units like that Twisted Fate. Talon is great at assassinating units as well. I mean, he is an assassin, but still just that single target burst damage in the early game. It's very strong. See if he's able to keep running with it. 1 tier on a TF.
Man, I want to see Rat play some Yordles for the thematic buff. And actually, Rat did play a good amount of Yordles last set, but we haven't really gotten to see it this time around, as the Talon should be able to take down this Caitlyn. Rat will continue that win streak. The only one so far at 100.
Could consider selling Cat and Lulu to pre-level to level 5, have a better level 5 shop, but decides not to. Wants to leave some options open, which with no item slams, I do agree with. Overall, still making 10 econ either way. No one else at 100 HP. Darth Nub down at 80. Relatively low for this point.
We've seen that before, though, from Darth Nub. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to claw our way back, as the last lobby ended in a 6th place. We were able to win streak through probably one of the thinnest mid games I've seen in a lobby in a while, and even with okay, Singe 3 is on the menu for Daniel right now. Sometimes the game just tells you, hey, play this comp. After seeing that, if you're not going Chemtech and or Innovator, you're just ignoring the Mort God's Will, and you should probably 8th place because of it.
Yeah, don't want to ignore the Mort Dog's Will.
No, not at all. I mean, 4 Singes in that in that particular pack, and Singed can be very, very good in the early game in terms of being a nuisance to give things like Ezreal a little bit of extra time. My favorite is when Singed throws the person who has the bomb on them into the rest of the team with the Zillion.
Yeah, that's always a that's a fun one.
Ooh.
Singed, yeah, that's gonna be a wiping. Darth Nub, as we saw, was lost streaking. They're at 70. They had 2 Katarinas, and IE was slammed as well. So we're gonna get to see Katarina on the board yet again.
But for all of you dog lovers out there, if you aren't cat lovers, we haven't really seen a ton. Like, this has not been a dominant comp whatsoever. That cat comp so far today. What we've been seeing a lot more of are some of these stronger early games. A lot of Ezreals, for example. We've seen a lot of Echo as well, and a good amount of challenger comps so far today. With, I think I like Cats running Yone 2 times in a row now. Unfortunately, with differing results, but showing that challenger comp with those academies can do a good amount of work, as this is going to be Caitlyn and TF and some syndicates versus Daniel here. And good ult, as the rest of Daniel's team fails the friendship test and lets the Kate ult through.
Unfortunate there, and might not even kill that any more units. Maybe the Zillion Bomb will get one. No, not even that. Schneckik coming into this game being in first place overall in the lobby, certainly making a good name for themselves, I would say, here in this fight night. 90 HP in game number 3, not a bad opener here as well. I like Cats. Morello TF opener, one of the best Morello's holders in the game. If not,
I wonder
the
what
best,
happened to the first 2
game.
Cats.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, okay, well, we'll leave that to interpretation and see exactly what we get from our Krugs. Some units or 3 gold there. We get some Yordles if we want to go that
Oh my
direction.
God,
A lot of
a lot of
gold that round. That's actually pretty nice, especially if we entered that with that win streak. We're going to leave it with over 50 gold, and if we continue to win streak, we should actually be in a pretty great place. We are doing a lot of movement right now, switching sides and adding some units, and adding the Urgot, which has not been a good unit so far today. In terms of performance, I think this Urgot has probably performed the worst out of the carries that we've seen.
Ooh, okay. This is interesting. I do agree. Obviously, Urgot has seemed a bit lacking today, but I think there was definitely a great consideration to make this happen if you already have Amaryllis for a Lissandra here, and then a Hodge for the Urgot. I mean, maybe you want to be like, no, I really want these gloves to be that, IE Last Whisper combo, and then get a Ruinans in there. It's just going to be hard to get all of those specific components to come online when we already slammed, 3 belts worth of items with a Warmogs, Morellos, and then we have a tier on top of that on this Lissandra. It's doable. Not the easiest thing in the world, however, as this Lissandra is looking to get this round win, and we'll be able to do it. Can sell Leona for Econ, but sells the Vi and Ziggs instead. Still, though, good start here for Cats.
Yep, wins the snowball fight against the Ezreal. Death by 1,000 paper cuts going both directions there. Actually gets him with the auto attack as we pick up a bunch of units on this roll down. We are probably going to be quite aggressive right now to keep this win streak going. You tend to have to invest to continue to win. That's how they even up that economy towards some of the lower part of the board. It also makes it so the lower part of the board has an opening at around stage 4142 to catch up in terms of power as we're moving in and out some of these units, and we did what looked like a lot to end up doing absolutely nothing on the board, and now we're going to sell a good amount of those units as we blocked them from our friends.
Yeah, just took out a Leona, put in a Jhin, Caitlyn 1. Not the most aggressive roll down if we want to consider, aggressively keeping the streak. I don't think this round will be a win, although Lissandra does ult not in range of many units, so it might be... Yeah, it will. Oh, okay. Gets away with murder there for Cats. And still has some decent income.
Swiping.
Yeah.
I like Cats. Is Salvage Bin, shrug it off. Ancient Archives. Probably go with Archives to try to pick a Chemtech up. But Salvage Bin can work here as well. We have gotten to it, but I think literally every time we've seen a Salvage Bin,
that's so good.
Crowin has ended up with the player getting mad dizzy in the late game just because of just the amount they need to do. It almost requires 2 whole rounds or maybe a 2-step pivot as opposed to doing everything at once, because it seems like everyone kind of forgets that they're going to need to redo their items. Because the other thing that happens is they're like, oh, I want to put these items on, and then you see the components on the bench, you're like, but wait, am I missing something?
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely. I was gonna say, it does depend on how big of a pivot that you're making. And with that spot from Cats, honestly, it could just be the Jhin carry all the way through. It could be the Urgot. I think it's just kind of whatever carry that Cats ends up hitting first. But we'll see a bit later. And speaking of Cats, we do have the Katarina on the field here. And it's going to be Protector Emblem. You were talking about earlier how you can do some really cool things for Protector. And Protector is what you used to go on Katarina with that, kind of Garen reroll composition with Garen, Kassadin, Graves. Katarina usually requires a healing item, but Protector kind of serves as that, right? She gives herself shields every time she casts.
It is a much more selfish version of that build. Hextech is going to help your units as well. She is a support in that comp, not only in a healing way but also in a debuff way with that Ionic Spark, so kind of does everything. The Protector is taking away some of that team utility to add a little bit more individual utility, so we might be able to get a couple more ults off, which again might be the difference between winning and losing a round. Darth Nub, though, doing some really fun stuff with this Protector spat, but it does lock in at least a second Protector, which can be moderately difficult a little later on. Is it going to be Gallia, which is going to take 2 extra spots? The Protector units can be a little difficult to work around.
Yeah, Blitzcrank does generally find its way into all of the endgame boards with the Katarina reroll. You can reroll for tier 3 Blitz as well, and I believe actually his tier 3 does 1337 damage, I think. So it's actually like a lot and can one-shot units. And it's also nice synergy to go along with the Echo as well, just to get a bit of scrap value. Yeah, Darth Nub finds the Blitz too there. It looked like So that's pretty good. And I had a point as well, but then I lost it. Feels bad. But we're moving on
Well,
board with Schneckik.
when you find
in
it,
that
let me know.
socialite hex. Yeah, I'll think about it. We'll see. I'll get back there at some point.
Oh, you know, you just got to leave the room and come back in.
Yeah,
Right.
PRV.
Drink water upside down. Wait, that's hiccups. As Exiles and Thrill of the Hunt going to be the augments for Senile. That's a fun little combo. You get some shielding, and unfortunately, you might do enough damage to where the shielding never goes away, and you don't get the value from Thrill of the Hunt. But doesn't seem to matter here. A win is a win. Doesn't matter how you get to it, even if you're going to be wasting some of your augment potential.
Only so, and I have found the point again. It was, I think you actually, when you were describing Katarina and her role, I actually never really thought about it in this way, but she does fit like 3 separate roles, right? She fits the carry role, the healer role with Gunblade, and the debuffer role with Ionic Spark. And I don't think there's many, you know, especially even 2-cost carries that fit that many roles and do it as dominantly as Katarina does. So just kind of interesting to think about it in that way.
4 cost value in a 2 cost carry,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Exactly.
You know, and I think the part that was supposed to kind of be the backtrack to it was that she's an assassin. Unfortunately, I think she has, with the Ionic Spark, a little too much HP, but that's just my opinion. That I think is going to be, we're definitely going to be seeing her in the patch notes. However, it's not going to be, I think, as hefty as some people might have wanted, especially since she has definitely not been showing up in these tournaments at all, in the top 2s, let alone just really the top 4. So I'm really curious to see what's going to happen to that unit. If you listen to Kardak, she needs buffs.
That's wild. I don't know about buffs, but maybe not. Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think not the heaviest of nerfs are needed for Katarina. The meta is already kind of shifting, and we're seeing counters to it. Right, the Vex Arcanist comp is already kind of a natural counter. We saw in game number 1 make it taken out as well pretty easily. And I mean, cat comps, yeah, they don't usually go for first. They usually go for like 3rd, 4th, maybe 2nd.
Yep, you slam, D-Claw Bramble on your tank, especially
Yeah.
if it's Vex, then it's kind of over. But what it does do, and this is why I think it's really strong, is it gives a lot of damage when it does win, right? So it eliminates a lot of those weaker comps a lot sooner, right? Kind of pushes them over to the Bunny Hill, does 16 damage in a round, and it separates the fat from the others pretty well, as we pick up the Jace here for Smurf Squatch, who's coming off of a lobby win, now sitting on the opposite side of the leaderboard. But this comp it's taking shape. And at 4-1, we're actually speed tempo wise at an okay spot.
I was almost gonna say, I feel like this happens every time. I'm like, oh, you probably don't need to roll here. Probably, it's in a good spot to just sit, just chill. But then you roll into a legendary that you exactly want at level 7. It's like, okay, I mean, you get rewarded anyway. It's fantastic, right?
Never punished.
Never punished.
Man, it's like me as a kid. I was that kid that teachers really didn't like, so I didn't have to study. And and like they really wanted me to fail, but I didn't.
I felt that. Whack. Just kidding.
And then what's actually so funny is that when I was a teacher and I had that student, I was like, oh, I get it.
Yeah,
that is the most frustrating kind of kid. But that might feel that way when it comes to some of these comps, right? It's like the potential is there. Unfortunately, we didn't take the right steps to actually get there. As we're moving some things around, hopefully putting some quad scholar in. This is a little familiar, friends.
Yep.
This time though, without the first aid, which I thought was a pretty major part of this being successful.
Yeah, first aid was really, really interesting. You don't need it for just the innovator comp to be successful in general. What you do really need is either an innovator, emblem or innovator heart or something to go for 7 innovators and that dragon. So this comp will cap out at some point, but it's still good enough for now. I mean, a 4-2 Jace, it's value. Might not still even be enough. Trundle, pretty good. No.
Okay, so at least we could have taken 2 units down potentially, but that's not going to happen. 22 HP, much different than last time. I think we started win streaking at around like 68, and with Metabolic ended the game with around 77, 78 HP. 30 gold, though, not really the most right now. We're developing that econ, and we're loss streaking. So what's unfortunate here is we want to continue developing our economy, but we can't really lose streak that much longer because we're at risk of not making round 5. We need to find some damage. We do get the bear Up there in the front line, we do have the Jace as well. It's some good items, but there's not a ton of damage elsewhere. So we're going to need to get a lot of value out of this Orianna and this Seraphine, who both happen to be tier 1, unfortunately.
And I don't think we saw exactly what the augment choice was for Sasquatch, if I remember it correctly, but we know that the scrap heart right now is not getting any value. It is basically a dead augment, and part of the reason why I think these losses are coming through pretty heavily here for Smurf Squatch. And yeah, it gets what, like 6-0'd there by Senile. It is just 1 life left. We can go maybe level 8 next round, but we won't really have any gold to roll with. That Jace might be interesting, but again, no gold to roll with.
We're gonna have to naked hit the Jace for that to work, but it's gonna be the Scion here, potentially for the Bramble, like you said. It's gonna help with any Katarinas or any crit-based units, but at 8 HP, this is very, very low. We might not even make it to the augment.
Definitely might not. Definitely might. I do that so much. Now that you said it earlier, I've
broken your world.
You have. It's a BG. Mental
it's
BG.
Like when my husband pointed out that I say the moral of the story a lot, and like now every time I say it, I feel like it is so bad, even though it's like fine to say.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You just like catch yourself. You're just like, no, I have to, even if it's out of spite, just stop saying it.
Well, and you know, for him, it's like he's just around me when I say it a lot, right? Because we're we're around each other, so I think he's getting a little bit of a heuristic observation there. But I get it. I definitely sometimes get it. As
Thank you.
Now at 8 HP, and a Dream was unable to level up any of those backline units. However, we do go up against tier 1 units ourselves here, so this matchup was a little bit of a saving grace, if I say so myself. The Jhin not going to be doing enough, and this might have been the only matchup that we could have dominated in this way. And this lobby, again, slow compared to some other ones that we've seen. Maybe it's just been low rolls across the board.
Maybe some low rolls across the board, maybe just some poor augments across the board as well. I know that does leave it open for good reroll compositions if the rest of the rest of the lobby isn't that strong. We have our third augment choice. Stand United does get a lot of value here. I mean, that's already 7 traits being run, 21 AD and AP for the whole team. That's not bad, but Celestial Blessing and Salvage, but honestly, are both good options as well. It is going to be Stand United. What do you make of that? What have you gone for in that scenario?
I think I probably would have invaded into Celestial because I saw, like, it's a healing-based thing. My healing-based units did really well last round, so I'm going to try to compensate for that. But this is another example of a lobby that's just not really that quick. 53 HP Lux carry easily right now in the top 4 without a lot of other upgrades. And so for Smurf Squatch, we just need to avoid Senile right now, and I think we have a chance against almost everyone else.
We shall see. Darth Nub, of course, that Katarina, level 6 rerolling. Lux does get Blitzcrank cooked, but it's going to be the Banshee's Claw blocking that damage coming through. Katarina, narrowly takes out the Lux, but then falls herself. It is going to still be enough for A-Rat to take the round. Sunfire, and then the binary drop actually giving Frozen Hearts getting a decent amount of value here.
Any Lux main knows how frustrating Katarina could be on the Rift, so I think we just saw it on the Convergence this time too. I played a lot of Lux, and that Katarina matchup was just awful for a very, very long time. A little bit better now, but this time around, I think that Katarina did get the best of the Lux, but the Lux did a little bit too much in that period of time, unfortunately, for their opponent. As Rat now, 53 HP, sitting in second place. We've got 2 people on fire. Schneckett kind of having a little bit of a day right now, playing very, very well, kind of going along with the rolls. And at the bottom of that leaderboard, Smurf Squatch survives the second round, and we're going to make it to round 5-1. Just one item here, though, for Rat. We do have binary drop. It looks like. So even though we do only get a component, we don't get to add it to anybody to get an extra one. It's just going to sit on the bench right now. If you're wondering why the ZZ Rot not getting built, you could on the Leona, but We could also just leave the bow there for this next carousel item, and then put the bow onto whoever you put that item onto.
That is true. That would be a bit more value. These route not going to be the best. I think there's arguments for both. Even A-Rat is not really deciding. It's like, do I want to do it, or do I want to, do the other boot plan of waiting? Looks like it's gonna be ZZ route though, as Lux is gonna have a big matchup into here. Okay, doesn't one shot the Urgot, but there he goes down. Leon is in timeout in the corner, but that's okay.
Misses 2 one-shots there, but we have enough healing, enough shielding, and enough time to get to these ultimates. The Bruiser Mundo at rank 1, not really going to be doing much to help out here. We finally do have Smurf Splotch getting to those level 2 units in the back line, as I saw that level 2 Seraphine. Rageblade for the Janna, kind of a nice pickup to get to that ultimate. 61 gold now. For Senile, did just lose out. We're playing that Innovator comp, and we do have that Singed 3. I believe this was the board that we saw 4 Singed in one pack a little earlier on, as we're looking for some of our Innovator units, and we do find out, so we get the Bear.
Yeah, and still getting use out of the Exiles bonus here, not wanting to put anyone next to each other.
A lot of tier 3s, too.
Yeah, even the Camille is going to be tier 3. That's interesting, especially considering if Senile was the one that had 6 Singed at that point, I think they were already level 5, so it's not like they were, not pushing levels at that point, but still went back and found everything on level 5 towards kind of the end of that when they were pushing level 6, I suppose, before they naturally went level 6.
Jewel Gauntlet on the Singed as well, which is fun. And it's going to be the tier 3 Ezreal. This should be Ezreal. One more ult. Yeah, there we go. Nice combination. That CC from Zilean, so strong when there's not a lot of units. It kind of goes away when there's like a ton of units on the board. But in that situation, when you have a friend that you want to go down with, Zilean on the Rift and on the Convergence might be one of the best friends to go down with.
Yeah, definitely. Oh wow. Schneckik going 8th after having 2 dominant games, a first place and a third place, just not able to make it happen for game number 3. Usually the lobby curse comes game number 4, Boop, but we're getting it a game early this time around.
Oh, that's going to make this 4th lobby super entertaining. But again, another slow lobby. There wasn't anyone kind of hitting really hard. No one playing Mercs in that kind of special way. And we're going to keep our Exile bonuses going. The Singed is going to stay in that front line. Not really seeing that Jewel Gauntlet doing a ton of damage. That's good CC, and is going to take a frontliner away. It's going to be the Bear this time around. So let's see if we're going to get some crits in that back line, as it does always go to the biggest group of people. And I don't think it ever actually landed because of the Orianna ult there.
It might not have. Not a great roll for the Ezreal item as well. Double rune ends. I mean, it's okay. Seraphine did not ult towards the Ezreal, so I think this might end up being a win here for... Oh, okay. It will be. Okay. That was close. Smurf Squatch lives on 1 HP. Roby Van Nobe does go out in 7th. And wow, Darth Nub hit like literally everything. I think that last round, well, already had the Katarina, but then hit Talon and Shaco, but it still lost the round as well. But 2 players are on 1 HP. This lobby is so close.
Yeah, 19 being 3rd place right now, right? That is a lot of HP in this particular lobby. That's a couple different rounds as Darth Nub, Daniel, and Smurf Squatch all in one fight territory at the moment to see what Senile is going to be doing with the rest of this board. We're pushing in a couple more scholars there. The itemization now is going to be a little interesting, especially since we have the tier 3 units, especially when they're scraps. I mean, it's nice in the early game to have those components turned into different items, but now they're trapped on these scrap units, and particularly that Ezreal, which we haven't really seen in Ezreal 3 this late in the game. But, and I guess in a slower lobby with these innovators, you have the front line, you've got tier 3 units up there too, and you've got some good damage on the Ezreal. This is kind of like the way that this can work, right?
Definitely. Definitely can work out. It also cannot. I remember I was watching Soju stream earlier today, actually, and he was trying to go for this comp, and I believe got 8th place, like, at least twice. But not for Senile here. They're actually going to keep winning rounds as we approach the end of Stage 5. Does take out a Rat there. And, oh, a Rat was, I believe, in 2nd place going into this game. Yeah, with 14 points. And all of a sudden, with Schneckik taking 8th, a Rat might be, putting themselves in a good spot to go back-to-back week victories.
All right, 1 HP, 4 HP, 6 HP, triple elimination on the table right now. And we're definitely going to be going a couple rounds 1v1 Senile and a Rat. But this tier 3 Ezreal might have a little bit of a secondary option along with this Sniper Orianna and the Jhin. Sniper Orianna can do an obscene amount of damage without any other items if the ult goes as far away as it possibly can. And it could potentially work out here. But that Victor is now tier 2. We got to make sure that we get through to that Lux in time, and it looks like we are ulting in time. We got to turn to the left now. Not in time. Oh no, the Jhin did have the time that it needed, but unfortunately we didn't aim correctly, and the Lux does survive and knock us out.
Cat still gets top 4 though. Smurf Squatch goes out in 5th. Loses by more HP. Cat to the Jhin pivot. It was okay, but the positioning not, the best there. Darth Nub, Katarina comp. 2 times we've seen Katarina. 2 times it's gotten at least in the top 3. Probably hard for it to go much further, right? 6 HP versus 45 and 46, but yeah, it could happen.
You never know. This is really early on, too. This is only going to be round 6-1, and we're going to potentially have 2 people by round 6-2. Binary airdrop getting a good amount of value on this board. This augment can feel like you're literally stealing, or it feels like nothing at all, depending on what the roles are. So this Victor now is going to get an extra item. So this is going to be 3 free completed items from the augment at this point.
That is very strong, very, very good value. Hopefully an AP or mana generation for the Victor. Darth Nub now gets Blitzcrank 3. So we can see this comp in basically full power. It doesn't have Echo 3, but, that's okay. Can it withstand the test of the Lux, the Enchanters, the Arcanists? We'll see right here.
Ooh, man, it's going to be tough for this Lux. I think there's a lot of HP on the board and not a lot of HP percent-based damage for this Lux right now.
Ooh. John ult does go off, but oh man, this Protector Cat is so many shields. The Lux cannot really get through it. It tries to. One more cast. The Victor actually doing a big part of that. The corner position works well versus the Assassins. If they don't de-corner, like happened right there, they can just get farmed.
This next round should be a little bit harder for our friend Rat here, depending, because I think it's the Innovator comp that's coming up next, and there's a lot more HP here. However, something that if you're going up against the Lux that might be nice is you don't really want to mix your low HP targets along with some of your higher HP targets, because then you're just giving a free reset. Here, it is going to be kind of, hey, you got to land that reset or else you're going to lose out. And this Blitzcrank should be able to one-shot whoever is in the corner, which is this Lux. But does get Trap Clawed, and we're going to be able to get into the front line. And this is just so much HP. And now the Victor ult doesn't get off. And this is a little bit better, but so much damage coming in from that Lux. It's Lux versus Cat, that mid-lane shenanigans. But it is going to be an elimination here. 13 HP now for Senile and 46 for Rat, who's having quite a game with this Lux. I think it's the 2nd Lux game in a row.
Yeah, I think it is as well. Honestly, I'm impressed that the Ezreal reroll, the Innovators can, or Ezreal Singe reroll can get to this point. Might not be good enough to take the lobby win though. Darth Nub could have won that round versus a Rat. It was very close because the units did de-corner there. Just, I believe Cat got CC'd. We are down to a 1v1 boop, and this could potentially be it. Could be even elimination before the stage 6 carousel.
We shall see. The ult is going to be mega important here. The Ionic Spark is going to make it so every time that Lux ult, she actually gets weaker, and that's going to help this Ezreal get through that front line. Ezreal actually stands in between all of those Victor ults, but Senile will fall. Rat takes it with an Arcanist win. Binary Airdrop also putting in some work there.
3 free items is pretty good, especially when they're on very impactful units like the Janna, Leona, and Victor. A very, very timely win there for a Rat, as we can take a look at the scores right now and see where they're at after 3 games. Top 4ing every single time. The only player to have done so, I believe. Yeah, 24 points for a Rat. 6 points ahead of second place, which is still Schneckek. Smurf Squatch in 3rd with 16. And then Daniel, wow, it's actually just 1 point down the line here between everybody else. Summer Squad 16, Daniel 15, Cats 14, Darthnub 13, Roby Vankanobe 12, and Cena with 11. So there's a lot of room for movement between second and 8th right now.
Eighth.
Boop. This is
literally everyone's still top 3-able.
Yeah, wow. I don't know the last time we had that, or at least it's not very frequent at all. Kind of crazy.
Yeah, if Allie is playing, then we have 3 ties.
Oh no.
But that she will lose. Big fan, by the way. Good friend of mine. But the overarching theme here is that if you're Schneckek and Smurf Squatch, just finish in the top 3. And you're good to go. You are in control of your own destiny, along with a little bit of that Mort God RNG. So going into this 4th lobby, it's hard to determine if you're really wanting to go 1st or 8th, if you're going to go top 4. But if I am Schneckek, Smurf Squatch, and Daniel, I might be kind of going, this might be the time to run that cat and be boring, just to kind of secure that top 3 and coming back next week, because no one's really going to compete for that win. The win's still mathematically available for Schneckek, I believe, but really the goal is top 3 right now.
Technically mathematically available for Smurf Squatch as well if Erat literally goes 8th. And Smurf Squatch wins. So we've seen crazy things happen before, potentially. But yeah, really, I think it is very interesting to talk about the conversation between what style of play do you bring to this last game. For many of the players, it's going to be, I have to just probably play for the first, or at least like a top 2 kind of game. The consistency argument is really just for, I think, Arat and maybe Schneckek. I don't think Smurf Squatch can really feel comfortable with just getting top 3, because if, Daniel, Cats, or Darthnub first place it, sure, you get a top 4, but it wasn't enough, right, to top 3 in the overall the night. So it's really, really hard to decide that. As do get on into game number 4, our final game of the night, Boop. On board with a rat, running a rat. I'll be in there.
Oh, thematics. You know how much I love that.
I know. I had to call it back from earlier.
Yeah, but the thing is, we started with a tier. Who have we played the last 2 lobbies? Lux. So maybe we're going to continue going that way. Yeah, it's super early, but a tier usually goes towards an AP unit, especially with Hodge not really being that popular right now. Yeah. I mean, it is kind of popular, and it's
okay. Definitely not as popular as it used to be.
Yeah, it's not like Fist of Fairness popular, for example. But now, let's see what happens here. As we start off with some bodyguards, but we do have that tier going into that direction. If we pick up any other Arcanus or other Yordles, Yordles is a nice kind of direction for Lux as well.
Yep. Basically, what I'm hearing is we're locking in Lux comp already. Can't pivot. No scout, no pivot. Lux only. Arat's going that direction.
For Demacia.
Or Demacia. Maybe where do you... I was going to talk about Arcane again. You know what? I will. It's an early game, right? We can do that. Where do you think Arcane will go next if we have to go to another location? Like, will it be Noxus? There's some, will it be Demacia?
I hope we get like the Ionia Noxus, because I'd love to see kind of like Karma and Irelia.
That'd be cool.
In those worlds going up against, because I like the whole Ionia being not very war ready, going up against Noxus and them actually being putting up a pretty big fight. That's very intriguing to me, and I think that'll be a lot more GOT than what we saw with Arcane this time around, which I don't know if I'd like. But my favorite area has always been Freljord, so anytime we go to Freljord, I'm down. So fingers crossed. That's fair.
I think for me it might be Bilgewater. I kind of like that Bilgewater kind of piratey theme there. Yeah, true. I've been watching a little bit of it. I haven't personally played it just because it's hard for me to force myself to play single player games, but that's a whole other thing. But it is really good.
Cool. Just, I mean, Riot is killing it.
Oh yeah.
No brown nosing here. Riot is showing the world how to make a company happen. It took 10 years for them to add the S to games, but apparently, we should have just trusted the entire time, because they are absolutely crushing it. TFT reaching popularity that hasn't really hit before. A lot of people from different games starting to play it. It really seems like everyone's secondary game is TFT right now, which is really, really cool. And it's a great game to play when you're kind of really frustrated with your other games. Say you're frustrated with the Rift, just play some TFT. Play normal and put whatever items you want on them, or you can play that ranked. But it's just really cool to see the Riot universe, especially since we grew up with it in college and stuff like that, becoming something similar to a you know, a Marvel type of universe, which is really cool.
Definitely. I mean, the Zoomers grew up with it when it comes to, just their formative years. We grew up with it when it comes to, just age of the internet and being in
Huh?
college and beyond. Just being like, what do I want to play? It's, it's League. It's gonna be some Riot games.
Yeah, exactly. And so now that we're here, it's super, super cool. So wherever Arcane goes, I think it's going to be awesome. I do think we're going to go to Noxus because I love seeing how villains become villains. And
True.
but LeBlanc, I think, is one of the most intriguing characters in League of Legends in terms of story, because she is in disguise most of the time and technically in control of Noxus, and no one knows. So we'll see what
That is
happens.
true. I mean, I have some LeBlanc theories, but no spoilers in the broadcast. I'll just talk with with you later. But oh man. Anyways, we're at 2-2. I guess some things have happened right now. We do have on guard, I believe that is the disarm for Scene Island. No challengers yet on the board.
Yeah, we don't really see this one all that often because this is, I think the rule of thumb for some people has been any like class-related augment is actually not that good. So like if you, especially this particular augment, maybe later on, so you're already running Samira, for example, this might be okay. But for the first initial augment, this can be pretty brutal, especially since we lost that first round. And if we had challengers, we probably win it.
That is true. But still no challengers to be seen. Caitlyn upgrade. That is interesting. Can run Enforcer. Take out one of the synergies that are on board. But any unit you take out will be dropping a synergy. Could just level up. There's a lot of gold here, right? Because Sina only got 2 components. So, okay, we'll just pre-level, not double level. It's kind of crazy when you could double level and still make 10 gold at this point. Not gonna opt for that though.
Well, and see, but what that does is it traps you in a tier 1 unit, so you're trying to win by sheer numbers sometimes. Yeah. So unless you, I mean, we already did have the tier 2 Caitlyn, so that totally could have worked. Unfortunately, we're going up against one of the few comps I think that could beat us, which is this Challenger comp. We might get to see that Warwick that you were talking about.
True. Yeah, that's already a Quicksilver, a vest on there as well. That could be Quicksilver, Titans, plus like, Shiv or whatever. Whatever the kids are running on Warwick these days. I've seen a couple of builds float around, but yeah, we might see it. I'm excited for it actually. I think that comp is pretty interesting if you can get it online, and the kind of the matchups, right, and what it can beat and what it can't beat, I think is pretty interesting.
It's actually really good against anti-crit builds, which is it's good against the comps that Cat is bad against.
Yes, exactly.
So it's a little bit more of that rock paper scissors, but say there's a Cat player running Rampant, running Warwick is going to be really nice because you're probably going to do fine against a lot of the other players anyway. And Cat can take a little while to get through something like a Warwick, especially if we do have that Chemtech bonus along with the Quicksilver, for example. So we have potential here, just tier 1 units though, 3-round win streak. So we are going to get that extra gold here for this next round. And we do have Thrill of the Hunt too, so that's going to be really, really nice for things like that Warwick too, where we get a little bit of a health reset because we're most likely going to be the one that is taking down the unit as well.
Yeah, definitely. And even just elaborating on kind of a great point that you brought up, that Warwick comps are good against the comps that Cat is bad against. It's sustained damage versus burst damage, right? Cat has burst damage. These compositions that like to run, Bramble, Declaw, it's great against the burst, but Warwick just chews through it over time. And we're even seeing that happen, right now. Sure, these fights are kind of fast because Roby Van Knob just has a good board, but as we do go into stage 3, we'll see the fights get a bit longer and Warwick just have that staying power of the sustain and just really good sustained damage as well as survivability. Oh, and Warwick too.
We were talking about what other units really have that, and that's Cat, has a totally other role that you can add to it. But same thing with Warwick here. We're a little bit of an off-tank bruiser. Think Jax on the Rift, right, is kind of how I view this Warwick build. Basically, you're just going to be doing a lot of attacking, and eventually, as time goes on, the amount of attacking, the amount of swiping is going to be enough to break through that front line, and by the time you get through it, the back line has no chance. And so you kind of want these rounds to be a little bit extended, and it's good against these teams like this that we're seeing with Ionic Sparks, for example, because the Warwick never really going to fall victim to it. Everyone else will, but the Warwick is going to act as a little bit of a tank as we go through here, and it's a lot of base damage too. It might not seem like that much, but it's mixed damage. So it is going to be it's going to be permanent damage one way or the other. You can't really itemize against Warwick specifically, though the magic damage isn't a ton. It is going to add just enough to take down a couple units.
Yeah, took down 3 units there. Actually, level 6 on 2/6 there. Not what we typically see. That's still decent, if you can justify the gold cost. Schneckig here was in the lead, and then has dropped from that with last game's 8th place. Still is currently in 2nd. Still can, top 3 for the week. See if they're able to do that.
All right, let's see what these Krugs are going to give us. The sword here for Schneckek. That's got to be really nice to see, especially running this comp, but we don't need a second IE, unfortunately. So
could be Giant Slayer, Last Whisper. There's still good components for other items.
Yep. Thinking of the future, so Giant Slayer can be the way to go. If there was a Giant Slayer on our 2nd place comp on our last lobby, we might have gotten a different lobby winner, for example. But we're going to add in some really strong units now. Tier 4 unit, which is that Janna, which is going to add the Scrap in as well. And we've already seen how good Echo can be just in general in these comps.
Yep. Scrap is very solid. We're going to get Echo with a glove, which, I mean, there's a couple of decent items that he can roll. I mean, Hodge will give it a little bit extra mana. Shroud, I think, would probably be the best one. It would miss in this instance in general. Banshee's Claw is going to be decent, but wasn't next to anybody. IE, sure, not the worst roll. And will it be able to be enough to win the round, though? This Act 2 with Sunfire is putting in massive work.
Zac is such a good unit.
Yeah.
Just in general. It is I think
maybe Zac can win.
A lot tankier than you expect. And the CC is frustratingly long. And if we hit overtime...
Oh my... Yeah! I was like, wait, can it happen? Can it line up that way? And it did.
Yep, it was literally perfect to roll up into overtime. That doesn't happen without the overtime bonus, but that is what you call stealing around, friends. That is what stealing around looks like.
Exactly. Cats rolling. Even though they already have some decent upgrades, looking for more. Healing upgrade, not bad. Urgot is what they could pivot into, considering that the fact the extra Tristanas were already sold. Probably weaker to put in right now, though, and you lose the Yordle Econ. So yeah, I'm just gonna try to maybe make 40 here. Can sell a Katarina. Can sell Leona.
I always love seeing TF and just what items we're gonna see on TF today.
Yeah, it could be anything.
Yeah, actually, we've called units item agnostic before. TF is probably the best definition of that we've ever had in the game. Can literally hold anything, even if you're being silly and running tank items. You could totally put those on in the early game too as you work through it. But as of right now, the Shiv is going to be great, especially if we get some Shiv procs and then an ultimate off from the TF. However, it looks like that Shiv is going to be kind of where a lot of our damage is going to be helped from. We did lose that last round, and we have some frustrating choices here. Ascension is amazing in double up, but not in this. All right, so first aid kick and Arcanist Heart is Arcanist. It could be Ascension, actually. Looking at this board, the shielding is only really the
it's going to be the Poppy, the Leona, and a bit of scrap value, but that's kind of fake. But the scrap shield.
Ooh, that was painful to see.
Yeah, it's going to be Ascension. Honestly, first aid, it could have been okay if a big pivot can happen over to, a comp that runs some enchanters and some Healy units. But there's a long way to go, right? 46 HP, pretty decidedly an 8th right now, and not a ton of gold. That's a decent amount of gold to work with, but it's not like the board is really strong right now to get us to a fast 8. So I guess Ascension's the pick, but yeah, as you were saying, it doesn't feel good.
No, it's like taking a what is it, a wheatgrass that you can do at one of those like health tonic shots,
yeah.
right? Like
yeah,
it's good for you, but it's gross.
It's like,
Uh,
is this really like? I don't
for
like
me, it's
this.
chia seeds. I cannot stand what chia seeds do when they
Oh,
get wet.
really? I
They get
used to
like,
put those in smoothies
oh
when
yeah,
I was
you
making
know, to each
smoothies.
their own. I get it, right? But
Yeah.
it's just that it's weird, man. I have a hard time with kiwis for like the same purpose.
Ah, that makes sense.
It's like that like mucosal seeding. Anyway, um, enough about health
Word of
foods.
the day.
And yeah, gross mucosal seeding. That's gross. As we're going over to Senile now, who is, you know, almost 20 HP over 8th place. I Like Cats, again, playing double up augments on that board. That's where we are right now, unfortunately. Senile, though, we'll see where their augments are taking them, as 50 HP right now is a pretty okay place to be. We have Mercs, so even better here, as we've, it seems like we've alternated win and losses, so that's kind of a feels bad.
It's yeah, it's not definitely not best case scenario here, but a Yone with an okay socialite. And okay, Sinai was the player who did go on guard, so we finally do get some challenger value between the Quinn and the Yone. And Yone is one item off of you know, kind of perfect items or near perfect items. Just needs one cloak for the Runeans. This is a recoverable spot, I would say. It's not doomed from here. Definitely winnable.
Definitely winnable.
Potentially.
Definitely winnable, potentially.
Yeah.
Love it. I love you, Quan. I would love to see if this Ascension is going to work out for I Like Cats at any point during today. Oh, it looks like it might have. Because if you are able to get Ascension going, a 75% damage increase is really, really good. It works really well with some of the mutant buffs. Really, really well. Ascension can also work for any team comp that kind of takes a while. So that first aid comp that we saw earlier could have used Ascension probably pretty well. Cat comps could use Ascension all right. But this value is going to increase for a little while and then start decreasing once we hit like 5.3, 5.4, based on where the power levels are. If I Like Cats is even going to be able to make it there.
That's true. Graves is a pretty solid unit here. It does give both Academy and Twin Shot, so good synergies. Honestly, even just the CC from Graves is pretty value as well. But just the board itself is weak. Senile really needs to go 7 and hit Yone 2 or some other upgrades, and with that, look to cash out Mercenary and then just full pivot out of it. We're seeing so many Jaces on level 7. That's like, is it the third one today? At least the second, maybe third.
Yeah, maybe even third. We've been seeing a lot of Jace at the 1%. And we're still at level 6, so we're still rolling for our challengers, and we don't even have a Samira 2 right now. Ooh, this could be rough, depending on this roll down. This could end up being one of the stronger comps on the board, because we're about to get a buttload of items potentially from Wolves 2, 4, 6, 7, because we only have 7 items right now. So we might get up to 4 items, I believe, on this round.
Yeah,
2, 3.
Oh,
look at me go!
Wow, you called it. Oh man, that was good. That was good. And the Giant Slayer is going to have good value, right? On units like Samira, like a Fiora as well. So it's not like the items were bad either.
Oh no, and we actually got really good Samira items just in
RFC.
general here.
Sure.
Too. So
Reforge. Oh.
Oh.
I'm still in that sojuism, I'll call it.
I think we all have.
Yeah.
Man,
it's
I want Ascension to work so bad. It is such a fun idea of a comp, because it used to be a whole synergy with Kale back in the day, if you remember.
Yeah. That is true. Will this be a cash out of Mercenary? It might not be. Kind of getting stuck on this Leona. The clone, or the shade, I guess, from Yone there was not really hitting good units. You need to roll down if you're Senile, right? Do you level up before you roll? I don't really think.
I don't think so. I think you need to upgrade these units.
Yeah. Not enough gold to do all that.
If we had 70 gold like Senile has had in the past, that might have been the good point. But this is where you wanted the gold, as we do level up and then hopefully hit.
Level up.
Fingers crossed.
What? 13 gold to roll with. Assuming we sell the Zac and Lysandra.
If we had already gotten a tier 2 Yone, I think that was the
Oh,
perfect
yeah.
move,
100%.
but that wasn't the case. I think we needed to roll down, at least get a pair, and maybe wait, but not the biggest fan in the world, but we do get a little bit of a better front line out of this. I don't think we got any upgrades, actually.
No upgrades, but the board strength did still go up. We got to put in for Challenger and then have Braum Leona, and if Braum even casts once, I think that's better than the previous front line. If he casts once, Braum misses your time. Okay, he gets one cast off. Okay, Yone can do this. I believe. This is time. It is cash out time. Here we go. There is a Nico's help in that chest. That is confirmed. So only one Yone Signal needs to find to hit a Yone 2. It's not a big cash out, but again, the Nico's help is there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
good
one
upgrade.
Yeah. I think we can already sell these units as well. God. There we go. 6 Challenger. Get the mercenaries out of here. More gold to roll. Now we reforge. Okay, I mean, need to keep rolling though. Definitely.
Doesn't look like we are. We're gonna greed out at least one more round.
Oh no.
We do get to 6 Challenger though. If you're able to win that last round, we have the potential to win this one. And it's going to be on the back of a tier 1 unit though that is going to get blasted apart in the back line. Oh, that did not look fun to watch, but we did greed out. Let's see if we were able to get a couple units down. We are able to get the Tarek down, so this isn't a complete wash, but I would love to see the Sneakos get used, and I would have loved to see a roll down at 7 as well. I think we would have gotten a Yone 2 if we had rolled down. We might have risked a mercenary cash out, but if we got a Yone 2, we could have used the Nikos for something else. Hindsight's 2020. We'll see once we kind of review it.
I think leveling up did end up working out because we had a favorable matchup, cashed out, right? Got the Nikos. It just, now that Senile is on 1 life, it makes things a lot more difficult. Like, even if they hit the Yone here on this roll down because they have +1 more gold because of the econ, it's not going to do much. You run into one unfortunate matchup or get one, bad fight, even if the matchup is good, and that's just elimination for you right there. And this is already such an intense lobby. I guess Senile was coming to this game in 8th, really needs to, play for all the marbles, play that first Wraith style. So I guess I get it, right? It just overall feels really bad to not roll there. But hopefully
leaving it out on the field. Yeah. Leaving it all out on the field sometimes doesn't look that great, unfortunately.
Could get punished. I mean, hey, it's a risk that Senile is willing to take. And they do get Yone 2, as we see on the right-hand side there. Hopefully it's enough to come back, but man, Roby Van Knob still 94 HP on a win streak? That is crazy.
All right, Smurf Squatch now. Looking up at Daniel and Roby, who all have a chance of making that top 3 right now. The Shiv on the Zyra, I actually really like that. Anytime you can put it on a unit that can use a little bit of that AP, but really tag that debuff onto the most people possible and find some value out of it. Darth Nub going to get wiped. Not completely, but that is going to be, it looks like 6 units I can count, going towards that damage, as I Like Cats gets 1 win with Ascension. Unfortunately, doesn't even make it to this augment.
Unfortunately not. Always feels bad when you're eliminated before the Raptors. Socialite emblem was a snap pick there. Is going to allow the Heimer to get a bit more mana regeneration, even though there's no items on this Heimer for now. I wonder what the wait is here for item slams, because it could just be Gunblade on the Heimer, but maybe they want to wait to see if they can get in their tier, or if they need to slam Shojins or not. I guess I understand waiting.
For some reason, the need to slam items is highest right before a PvE round. I don't know what it is.
But to make sure you carry your streak into the PvE round, I guess.
Exactly, and so you can assure the streak here, especially at 30 gold and a 3-win streak. Getting a win here is actually kind of a big deal. But we might see a slam mid-round, but I don't think we're going to need it with that front line.
We'll see. I mean, they can see the matchup and then decide if they need to or not. Okay, we get the Warwick. It is tier 3. It doesn't have 3 items, however, so that's a bit unfortunate.
Yeah, Heimerdinger actually really good against Warwick, especially if we get the triple ult off on that side. Gets CC'd, gets everyone except Warwick, but that actually wasn't even that bad. That wasn't even close. Warwick 3 gets absolutely dismantled, and Roby loses that win streak. It looks like that's 2 losses in a row, went from 94 to 71 in 2 rounds.
Yeah, I mean, that's okay. They still were on 94, right? That was fantastic for that spot. They get a chance to get Warwick items, but that's the thing about going these specific tier 2 kind of or 2-cost reroll compositions is that if you do streak, it is very hard to get your perfect items because you're not picking first on carousel. And then you get stuck in awkward situations like this. Hopefully, Roby Van was able to get good components from these Raptors, because if not, that composition will continue losing all throughout Stage 5. And speaking of the components, okay, a glove is not bad here for Smurf Squatch. It could be a Shojin's Jewel Gauntlet. It could be a Gunblade plus Hodge as well. Let's see what comes through. Yumi is now in.
We would love a tier 3 something. Or tier 2 5-cost unit here. We are going to get close to the tier 3 Tarek and Heimerdinger and Lissandra if we want it. We do have the time to get there too. 57 HP on fire. We have at least 3 to 4 losses. No problem. We are going to do the Hodge with the Hextech, double H right now. And remember, folks, Heimerdinger will get 3 procs of the heal on the 3rd ultimate that he gets that special triple ult. And now you're really seeing just all of that single target damage from the Heimerdinger when you're able to make it single target. Most units can't beat that triple rocket.
Yeah. Heimerdinger utilizing the power of Hextech. So it is fitting. And
speaking of arcane, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, speaking of arcane, Heimer. No, just kidding. Roby Van does not get a best in slot Warwick 3rd item. It is going to be a death cap, which, to be honest, I've never seen. So we'll see how this one goes. I wanted to see this composition, and I'm still excited to see it because I don't know how it's going to go from here.
We talked about the mixed damage earlier.
Yep.
Right, so if there's a lot of physical damage block, right, then putting the death cap is going to be kind of nice, because I believe every character or every champ in the game has an AP ratio of some sort. On whether it be more lifesteal or something like that, but we're getting 300 damage procs on this Rabadons. This is exactly the type of comp that Warwick does really good against too. A slow comp doesn't really burst you down, and you're going to end up winning by attrition here if that Jinx doesn't take you down at first, but it's going to be the Quinn that MVPs this out by the end. Beautiful ult from Quinn and Valor there, and Valor Jinx's kryptonite for real. If you think of a counter for Jinx, it's Quinn. As weird as that sounds.
Oh, I mean, definitely the disarm. Oh, we have Clapio. We have That's even better than Warwick. Screw the Warwick. I want to watch Clapio. This is going to be no IE though. Kind of unfortunate. We do have the 2 Colossus, some decent items on the Scion as well. Got the 3 Socialite going, the 2 Enchanter, 2 Scholar. This is Clapio at near its peak.
Get clapped, folks. Round of applause for every win here. IE Jewel Gauntlet, Morello's on the Seraphine. I know Mordog said in the next patch there's definitely going to be some Seraphine buffs, but that was a huge knockup to start, and then a secondary one. Some of them haven't even dropped yet, and it's their bodies.
Yeah, they're just gone.
I like seeing their corpses fall from the sky.
That's morbid, but that is what happened. That was a lot of damage coming through, and it's not full Clapio because the Galio crit animation is when he claps. If he doesn't crit, he just kind of punches, so it's like pseudo Clapio. But with the Last Whisper, at least he's punching almost half the time.
We're just adding variety. It's stomp, but with your hands.
Stomp, but with your hands.
Yeah, the musical stomp.
I feel like I've watched it, but it's been so long, I forgot.
Man, I can't watch basketball without thinking of stomp, and that is a very revealing statement for me.
Power of theater.
If you, yes, the power of theater. Theater coming, doth nub. Now with the Clapio. The Rage Blade is going to be really silly, but this comp is very good. Colossus get a good amount of help with that synergy there because they are just invulnerable, I believe, for 2 seconds. So you're going to be able to get that Rage Blade procced no problem after a couple ults. And we did see Scion ult an entire corner of units. It's not going to be as good here, but Warwick might be an all right matchup against this comp particularly.
Yeah.
It's going to get through the Scion really easily. The GA, though, going to cause a little bit of delay. And that GA going to mean that this Warwick has to 1v5 everyone. Gets one. Doesn't look like we're going to get any else.
No. Quicksilver runs out. Starts getting CC'd. Robyvan is hemorrhaging HP. Oh, man. Schneckik went out in 7th. Senile is down to 1 HP, so it did get a very good loss. Must have been 1 unit loss, I think, towards the beginning of this stage. A-Rat at 9 HP. I think they were playing Katarina. Smurf Squatch hit Vex 3. That is a huge front line, especially when dealing with Cat. And honestly, even with dealing with, Clapio as well, it takes a while to get through that Vex. But he does have backline access, of course.
All right. Is Clapio going to do it?
He definitely can. I mean, we see the power of him the last few fights. Clapio versus, oh man, that Shroud into Clapio is kind of rough. When will he ult?
Never.
There we go.
There we go. Pulls a George R.R. Martin on that ult and is still writing that book. I just want to read that book. Anyway, 13 HP and on fire for Clapio here. And we're starting to even up these HP totals. Senile finishing in at 6. Rat, though, at risk at 9 HP. Zephyr, very, very good item at this point in the game. It takes away potential frontliner or even the carry. And it's really good if you can, like, Shroud and Zephyr somebody, so they're even more neutered there because, as a Shroud on Victor, for example, is brutal since each mana totals on this particular set are just so high.
Yeah, definitely. They really, really are. It's crazy. It's one of the reasons why, blue buff is not really that value on a decent amount of units as well. Shogun's generally a lot better. But it's getting down to the wire here. A Rat is in 5th currently. Has to still have a decent finish here. 5th might be enough, but need to play for any placement possible to make sure they secure the win. It's up to players like Darth Nub, like Robyvan, like Smurf Squatch that want to break into the top 3, if not potentially challenge the victory.
Okay, we do have our top 5 at the moment, with only one person over 13 HP. Round 6-1 means that we are definitely getting some eliminations here, as everyone except for Smurf Squatch up for eliminations. Tier 3 Vex in the front line takes absolutely no damage at all. What was that item that took away shielding? Oh, it was Volibear. So, unfortunately, yeah, unfortunately, Volibear not here would have been great against that Vex. But I mean, I think getting halfway through that Vex is a little bit of an accomplishment for Daniel right now. That is going to be a double elimination. Rat finishing in 4th place. Oh man, leaving this top 3 open right now. Darth Nub might have been, and Roby both might be able to sneak in along with Smurf Squatch. Level 9 now for Darth Nub at 13 HP, running Clapio. I just want to say that as much as possible as I have the opportunity to. But this Vex is going to be rough to get through.
Definitely will be. Rat getting top 4. Daniel narrowly missing it. We're down to our top 3. Smurf Squatch. I never stumbled on it until now. We get to see how it fares up against the Clapio, the Vex 3, the Heimer 3 now as well. Galio does get Zephyr. That does waste a lot of that Clapio's time. Is it going to be enough, though?
Time is of that priority, and that's a lot of HP still available for Darth Nub. Smurf Squatch should lose out on that one. Roby wins too, so we should have 3 people remaining for round 6-3.
Here we go. We indeed will. Yeah, nothing can take down this Galio. It's just absolutely insane. Like, this is one of these kind of fringe compositions, these niche builds that can come in here and dominate. A lot of specific factors have to come into play, but Darth Nub has found the line, right? The stars have aligned, and we're seeing the power, and I'm so glad that we get to see it as well. If it is kind of touched in that next patch, that would be kind of sad to see it leave.
Ooh, tier 3 Heimerdinger now. That could actually get through that Galio with some good targeting, but we do need that targeting, and we need it early. Warwick, I think, overachieving a little bit. I like the hat. Looks fancy on him. And we have 3 redemptions to make it even better. Yeah. And those redemptions against this comp, actually, very, very good. It's going to mean that the Socialite in the backline not going to be doing as much damage as they can, along with this Yuumi, but no, the Warwick falls. It's going to be in a Ghost win there, I believe.
Yep.
We already have a win for Smurf Squatch, and the Colossi going to be taken down. Roby there. It's going to be Darth Nub versus Smurf Squatch.
Yeah, Roby found, I think, with that opener, 3rd place is right about where you expect to end, especially with those Warwick items. That's definitely going to be, okay with that one. Smurf Squatch versus Darth Nub. We're probably not going to get into stage 7, so this will be a fairly quick game, I would imagine. Another Zephyr is fantastic. You can Zephyr maybe even the Scion and the Galio. It'd be funny if you could stack Zephyrs and double Zephyr for double time on the Galio. That would probably be what Smurf Squatch would want if possible, but that's not really how that one works.
Yeah, and I'm kind of wondering if keeping the Heimerdinger in the Socialite space is just a little too obvious right now.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe taking an off angle might actually make this Galio a little bit more vulnerable. So you put the Heimerdinger all the way towards Smurf Squatch's Honeybuzz there. You might actually be able to get him pretty early. However, we're going to be jumping in, and we're on that trampoline park, and we might be able to get it. Oh, so much damage, and oh no, but the ult comes just in time. Heimerdinger still alive. Heimerdinger might take this.
Clappio, can he continue clapping? Oh my god, he can't.
Gets clapped instead.
Gets clapped. Darth Nub, 1 HP. We might indeed go into stage 7 if Darth Nub can turn this one back around. The fight still could go either way, I think. Judging off of how that one went, it was very, very close. There's still some upgrades on the table for Darth Nub as well. Potential Jace 2. Didn't find it this time around, though. Would have to get into stage 7 to find it.
It's so crazy because these Jaces have been literally everywhere for the rest of the day. 1 HP right now, separating Smurf Squatch from the win, and Darth Nub from having to sweat out the tabulations. We do get the Zephyr onto both Socialites, so the healing not really going to be there, and that might actually be a huge detriment to this team right now, as the Socialite bonus is coming through, and the Heimerdinger and the tank still alive. Vex, you got to get through that Vex, but the Heimerdinger steps in front of it, and that is bad news. But we do have the Hex Tech. We also have Thrill of the Hunt, so we're going to get some resets there. It's Clapio. Is he going to get Vex?
Goes down.
It doesn't look like the Vex is going to be a huge enough issue. We're going around 7.
There we go. Into stage 7. Some close fights back to back. Shojin's is very, very good, actually, for Darth Nub. Gargos on play is less good for Smurf Squatch. Shojin's on that Seraphine, big value.
Yes, has not gotten old for me so far. A lot of items here, and this could go either way. This is going to be a positioning diff at this point in time. I wonder how much positioning changes we might actually get, because sometimes, everyone moves their units around, and we actually end up with the exact same thing at the very end. But yeah, I like the Sojins for this particular comp. It's going to be really nice for something like the Seraphine. Like you said, we're going to get a little bit of gold to go along with it. 18 gold and a Jace 2 on the first pack.
Oh, okay. Oriana, as well as good for the Shojins. I did think it was more likely to be the Seraphine, but that is okay. What improvements has Smurf Squatch made? Oh, I think actually that Tarek was remade, maybe to replace a Zephyr. Clumping in this corner is really detrimental versus the Scion, but really wants to get a lot of value. Oh, they are actually spreading out units now. Okay, I like that adaptation from Smurf Squatch, but is it enough?
Heimerdinger is open right now, but the Zephyr protects the Heimerdinger. 2 Zephyrs is so nice to have, and we're going to get a couple early picks, but man, this Lissandra doing a little bit too much right now. They need to take her down, taking a lot of those cooldowns away, and now this is where the real fight starts. Can the Heimerdinger survive? The answer is no. Looks like Jace 2 was absolutely necessary there, as what a thrilling finish there. 1 HP is going to be all you need if you're Darth Nub, taking the win in Lobby 4.
Darth Nub needed that win, and this, I mean, the scores going into this game were super, super close, and we're going to be able to get those here in a moment. But man, what a final game. We get to see Clap, we get to see Warwick still get top 3, even though the items were scuffed, and I think that was a great game to end the day off. What do you think, Boop?
Yeah, especially since the middle 2 lobbies were at a little bit of a slower tempo than this one. I mean, we had the Galio set for like a while, right? So in terms of speed of, speed to power, right? We need a word for that in TFT. Like how quickly you get to max is something that is always evident in a game. Say a Katarina comp gets to max really early on, she's going to be doing 20 damage to you, no problem. However, if the whole lobby isn't matching that tempo and everyone kind of is sitting at the same, the first person who gets a tier 2 5-cost unit is going to start running away. And in this particular lobby, we were able to get a couple people along those lines. It was really cool to see Galio in that sense because we didn't see any Colossus play whatsoever.
No, we really didn't. Besides for that, I mean, it's kind of niche, right? Players have stopped running even things like Cho'Gath after some of the mutant things got nerfed, so it's really just that niche Galio composition. But we do have the scores ready, so let's go ahead and see who it is. It's going to be a Rat once again, top 4ing every single game. Can't get much more consistent than that. A Rat takes the dub, defending champion, back at it again. But Smurf Squatch does, with that second place, get into second overall. Darth Nub with that first does sneak into the top 3. Schneckik rounds out our top 4 to get some of the money as well.
All right, so it looks like we will not be doing an interview, and since we already did the play interview for Rat, I think we can take a little bit of a break there. But if you hover over the screen on Twitch, you can actually see what Twitch everyone is using right now. So if you want to follow Rat as kind of like the winner's bounty right there, he's going to win the cash. Definitely keep following Rat, because Rat is always going to be, I think, around and is playing pretty well. We'll definitely see him in these cups. I think Zon Cup is coming up next year, and we'll definitely see a couple of these players there. In terms of kind of things that was stepping out to you, Crowan, what were you kind of looking at today?
Yeah, well, I'll get into the meta conversation about that in a second, but I do want to quickly call out a Rat. This was a Rat's 3rd week, actually, so the 3rd week curse did not strike. A Rat got 3rd and then first, so around 4 weeks. That's better than the majority of Fight Night players being able to come back 4 weeks in a row. So definitely excited to see how consistent they're able to be. In terms of the question of what I was expecting to see today, right? I thought we would definitely see more reroll, even if it wasn't Cat, right? Like I don't think we saw any Trundle 3s or anything like that. No like Kog'Maws, no Protectors. It was a lot of just like middling power various boards in the mid game, whether it be like with Jhin or Urgot or Arcanists, right? So it wasn't exactly my expectations. I do think that we got to see some interesting things, right? We saw the Galio, we saw some Samira play. We did see generally when Cat was run, it was very effective. So overall, I think it was fine, and we're going to see it all change next week with the patch.
And it's going to be there for a little while.
4 weeks, I think, because of the holidays season. So 4-week patch is going to be interesting, Poop. I don't know.
We'll see what happens. I believe it happens like every season for December. So, it is every season, meaning I think the 2 Decembers we've had.
Yes, not very often.
Maybe even just the one. But the overarching theme, the moral of the story is that we're going to get some new games and new types. And actually, I think this meta was a lot looser than people had anticipated. We got a little tunnel visioned, I think. Yeah. But overall, I would like to see some of our Chemtechs come back. They didn't perform that well today. Urgot was not that great today. The Twin Shots having a little bit of a hard time. But, we got to see a little bit of Heimerdinger. We got to see Clapio. And at the end of the day, we got to see a bunch of players find success that, need to continue finding success into some of these bigger tournaments.
Yeah, definitely. Very well said. And reminder, of course, no interview. So that'll about wrap it up for us. Thank you all for watching. Really appreciate it. We'll be back next week to see if our Rat can go 3 for 3 in terms of victories. But who knows? Got to tune next time to find out. This has been Boop and Crowan bringing you Fight Night Rising, brought to you by Wisdom. Take care and have a good night.